Sharif as well. Go get them, boys.
Yeah. What the heliante? What the heliberry? Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. Right there is your boy, Joey Options. And I'm Sharif. And yes, we're going to wait for everyone to come on over from the other side. All right, man. Shout out to the OG Darwin, always dancing up a storm. Anthony Loco. We got Gorev, Sports and Stonks. Bob the Builder. Jeremy Newman. Jake Roberts. Snake. We got E. We got Donkey Trader. Mavi Earth. Siesta Mike 44. Travman. Dangerous. I'm so dangerous. I love that song. Narsty, Ginvesting. Okay. I know. CEO, Mixel Ventures, Oscarito, Death Trader, Ari Rosen. We got 2 New York cents and Sebastian Ontiveros. Probably butchered that last name. I do apologize. A day in the life like that. Just Ron Trejo. We got JJ. JD is best. Shout out to Pablo Picasso. That's a fantastic one. I gotta.
That's great.
Bravo. Michael PD Ryder, the OG, charged up 101. We got all class. Adam DeLuce, Frank Trades, GTR, yay. Yee or yay? I know I'm ancient. Eric Garcia, Dude 5, and Doria. Shout out to Doria. First time I'm seeing that name. Welcome to everybody, guys. Yes, we just got big news right now from everybody's favorite orange character. I mean, Donald Trump. And he is, according to CBS, reports Adara, looking at getting rid of Fed Chair Powell. And the second that happened, I looked over there to your boy Joey Options. I'm like, go long Bitcoin. We know why, because don't want the president to mess with the money supply, so they're going to a finite asset, i.e. Bitcoin.
Yeah. Great shout out there. And when Sharif did mention it there, guys, it was a big time move, right? It was right around this neck of the woods when he mentioned it. And it's like, boom, you get that ABCD pattern, and that worked out really, really well for that thesis there. So nice look. Maybe we get a retest, and maybe we can start to participate on there. RGTI is really breaking out. That was one of my picks here on the day, but I missed that train. So that train has definitely left the station. So we'll continue to look for other things. But right now we're just sitting in some NVDA short from right here. And then, yeah, we got that nice volatility spike to the downside. So that worked out relatively well. I was talking with Jag in the chat. And yeah, that's what we're cooking out. I don't have much left. I literally have 10%, and maybe we can run into 80s here on NVDL, or we try to get a little bit of a reload and look for those targets there. But RGTI, Bitcoin really starting to zoom. That's looking pretty good. But as for the overall market, the Qs and the SPY are pretty choppy here today, guys, so keep that in mind. Very, very range bound. In my opinion, there it is. A lot of overlapping candles. You do get that initial weak drop to the downside. So the 5-minute orb traders, that one worked out really well if you're playing the break of this 5-minute candle, and then you get that flush to the downside. And then now we're starting to kind of bid back up. So keep an eye out on that. But that's what we got going on here. Yeah, okay. Joey Chill. So I seen someone say Joey Chill in the chat. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're big chilling today. We're short NVDL. Why am I short NVDL, Sharif? It's honestly the same narrative, and I've been mentioning this from before. I'm trying to build a steady playbook off of this stuff. Oops, I didn't want to pull that one up there.
But I didn't even
mean to do that. Honestly, yeah. So
all good.
What we got going on here is this. Right, open interest. That 175 has cooled off.
Okay.
There was over 144,000 here, so a lot of those closed, those 175, but 172 and 170, I'm just looking forward to close below those prices because those short contracts do not want to close in the money, but Bitcoin really moving here now, Sharif.
All right, guys. I haven't punched in a position yet. There's a lot that I'm looking at. I think I'm going to punch in. Okay, well, let me just see here for a second. YHC is the one I'm looking at. Up about 47%, 650 high, has now pulled back off that 650 into 580s. And the reason I'm interested is this is a 10 EMA bounce. I'm going to give this an opportunity, even though what I'm seeing over here has been that this has breached the 10 EMA on the 5, at least on that initial pullback off the open. It was a bigger pullback. It was a 3-candle red pullback, but we got 2 red candles right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give this an opportunity to come down into the volume weighted average price at 561. So I will dollar cost average into the 2/3 of a dollar. I won't DCA into the 3/4. I'll wait for the 2/3. That is if it loses the 10 EMA on the 5. I'm talking about YHC. All right, so first entry for me in a position on the day. We're going to go ahead and we're going to layer the orders as we typically do to take advantage of any price spikes, and that's kind of what we're doing now. Let's go ahead and set up. All right, so we already got a beak wetter there. Let's see if this one wants to continue to go, but as I said, I will DCA into the 2/3 of a dollar. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to wait at 69. All right, so I know the 2/3 is at 66, but I like 69 better. So that's what I'm doing right now. So that's the first entry there. Now, there are other ones that I'm looking at. BRNS. This thing lost VWAP. And so when I pulled this up originally, it was this candle right here that I pulled it up at, right at 1050. And this one topped into 191. Then all hell broke loose to the downside. It went from 191 to 125. Math nerds in the chat, what kind of a percentage retracement is that? I can do it here, but I want you guys to do it. And then all of a sudden, the next subsequent candle, we didn't actually make a lower low, but you couldn't really get the opportunity to punch in on this 11 o'clock candle because the speed with which this 11 o'clock candle went from 130 to 196 was prohibitive, and it is now halted at the high side into 196. Be on the lookout for burns, BRNS, but just don't get burned by it, Adara.
Keep an eye here on the market. Brazil, apparently, according to a statement they made, the Brazilian government sent a letter to U.S. officials about tariffs on July 15th. That would be yesterday. Apparently, in this letter, they, quote, react strongly to this decision to impose 50% tariffs on Brazilian products. For what it's worth, the Liberation Day tariff on Brazil was only 10%, so massive increase there. Brazil also said it is open to discuss trade with U.S. authorities for a mutual agreement. Also, guys, worth noting, Circle just did a massive breakout into new day's highs. Back to you.
Circle, ... Joseph Wilson.
Yes, sir.
Do you have your cootie shot?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah, I got it too.
Yeah,
I got it during COVID. I didn't want to, but they wouldn't let me travel.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me go anywhere. I had to.
They wouldn't let me travel without it.
At Bell, too. They're like, yeah, you need to get it.
Oh, you were, yeah.
Yeah.
Boom. All right, so we're doing it freaking live over here on YHC. We're in at 84s. I've scalped up all the way into 19s on YHC. It's a 10 EMA hold, but alas, what's important here is this current 5-minute candle has a lower high. The only way it changes trend if it prints above 638. So I'm looking for a 639 print. So we take a bunch of prints here on that price spike up. I'm still interested in DCAing into that volume weighted average price if it is to lose the bid here. But I will go ahead and wet the beak a little bit more just to take out some more into this high end area, but we're still holding actually more than half the position. So let's see what this one does. YHC in my focus right now, Joseph.
Yeah, good look there, guys. Yeah, so this is what we got going on. We're still looking at this. Bitcoin has absolutely gone parabolic. That's something positive that we want to see. And that's why, like, for me personally, you guys know I sold a couple of those contracts, and it's like, just hold on to some of them, right? So you still have some skin in the game. Obviously, it's not going to equal the amount that if you had the full position, but it's like, all right, lock in some of those profits, listen to what the market's telling you, and then just hold some of, just in case it does decide to reverse or do something else. And I think that's going to be the case here. So now this gap has been completely filled, and you can see that we're starting to slightly reject it here, guys. So keep an eye out for this specific support level that we experienced. I believe this is going to be Friday's or Monday's post-market right there, and then you lead into Tuesday morning, and then boom, you get that massive flush down. So that's what we got going on. We'll continue to monitor Bitcoin for any form of pullback, and then maybe we'll look to get involved there. But this was, I think, the really, really key entry. You break through VWAP right there. You can see that you put in that definitive base. And then once you've cracked VWAP to the top side, the volume slowly starts to pick up. And then boom, you're breaking through some of these pre-market highs and continuing to climb higher. But this ABCD pattern, the retest of VWAP you hold, that's where you want to get involved. And that's when Sharif mentioned it. So that's a missed opportunity. I was thinking short on Mara. Why was I thinking short on Mara? Let's pull it up from a daily standpoint. Unfortunately, I did miss that one as well, but I just stuck to what NVDA was doing. But here it is. I think this is going to be a good I think this is going to be a good potential short right here on MARA. But if it cracks that high, then just hop out because it'll probably climb higher. Hey, we got William Larson. What's up? Hey, Bash Bros.
I'm really rich.
QQ, if good news comes out from the crypto bill today, do you think SBET will take off or sell off? What do you think about that one?
I don't know, man. The crypto bill is good for a couple of reasons. Well, there's several different pieces of legislation. There's a Genius Act, kind of which regulates the these U.S. dollar stable coins, and then there is the other what's it called? It's the one that the Clarity Act, excuse me. That one defines whether a coin is an equity, or sorry, it's a security, excuse me, or a commodity. The CFTC governing body or the SEC. And then the third and the final one, there was basically a prohibition on a central bank digital currency. It was one of the one of the points that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene insisted be included to get her vote in the House. So I think that was actually going to be part of a different piece of legislation, but for whatever reason, it was a sticking point. In any event, I don't think any of those really have to do directly with ETH, but as you've seen, and as Neil pointed out multiple times this morning, ETH is breaking out and it's a little bit stronger. Joseph, ETH is up 6.8% on my watch list right now, about to take out 3250. So I don't think they really have anything to do with it directly. That doesn't mean, though, it doesn't catch a tailwind from just the overall, positive news, let's just call it that, for crypto in general. So you're catching a tailwind right now because I'm watching ETH. ETH is still very, very strong on the day. We had a momentary breach there, Joseph, of 120,000 on Bitcoin, coming back down now to 119,500. So, look, I'm not the biggest fan of ETH, but what do I know, man? The thing is, it's making big boy moves, and so it doesn't really matter what I think, guys. And the technicals still, I was looking at the chart that Neil pulled up this morning with Brendo, still kind of like in that mid-range. You know what I mean? From all-time highs and local lows.
Yeah, for sure.
It really hasn't broken out too much.
Too much, no. And I know we talked about it with a little bit with Michael Noss, and I think 136 is totally doable. Let's just see how the strength continues, right? But the reaction that we've seen here earlier this morning is a positive sign. So maybe we can get some aftermarket, or even during the intraday session, we can get a little bit of a move higher here. And I mean, 130, we're not going to complain about it whatsoever. We'll take that one there. It's just unfortunate we don't have any more sizing on it. Let's actually pull up spot itself to take a look at that daily chart, because I think it's really important to note. I seen this yesterday, so why did I sell a bunch of my contracts? Well, just because of this candle, right? Maybe it's not the most isolated pivot, but you got to look at it from a technical standpoint and say, all right, buyers had the ability to push price all the way up to 123.5 roughly, and then it pushes it right back down. And then you open up here and then you get that flush. But when I was looking at this yesterday, you open up here and then you get that flush down, but buyers push price right back up, and that kind of closed as another hammer. So it was like almost like a double tweezer hammer pattern right there. And I'm, okay, did I make a mistake? But no, I can't honestly get mad at myself for locking in profits. I think that's what you have to do. Obviously, I was expecting a bigger move and maybe more of a clean path to 130, 135, but this is what I had to face. And that's probably, in all honesty, that's the worst case scenario. Like whether you're short or you're long, whatever you may be, and I see this, I'm like, that is not a good sign. So I'm glad, even though if it does work against me, I did lock in some profits and then left a little skin in the game as well too, Sharif.
All right, guys, I'm continuing to hold my YHC trade over here. Look, this current candle still hasn't made a higher high. What it has made is a higher low. So the 1105 5-minute candle did have a low of 580. The one that just closed, so the 1110 candle, come on, man, hover over, piece of crap. All right, it looks like it has a 591 low, and we're still zigging and zagging. We just got up there into prior bar high at around 611, but we're not making any new highs. So I'm starting to keep my eye on this one. I've moved my stop up now to break even on 584, okay? So if it does dip down into my entry, I get stopped out, but I still leave active that order, that resting order that I have there shadowing the volume weighted average price. I just don't want to DCA into it. I just rather break even, and then if it comes into VWAP, holds up, I buy again, okay? But really, I should be focusing on a couple of other stocks. I want to talk about them. BRNS is on the warpath to the high side. It just printed a new high day, 278. It's got five candles of higher highs and higher lows in a row, including that one red candle there that you see on your screen. Everything else has made higher highs and higher lows. Sorry, Assassino, I was not plugged in.
Oh, another
Give me
big
a
flush
second
to
there,
the
Adara.
downside
Go ahead.
there.
Oh, well, we're going to send it to Adara because I think she's got news.
Absolutely.
I don't know what that news is, unfortunately. I'm waiting, and if I see anything, I'll let you know. Apparently there's, some comments from Marco Rubio, but it's just about Syria, and it's unclear if it's like pressing news. I do want to let you guys know here, though, Donald Trump is set to welcome the Prime Minister and Crown Prince of Bahrain for bilateral talks. I think that's supposed to happen at 11:30. I will let you guys know how the talks go. Of course, I'll be watching them. I'm still not seeing a market-wide handle, but I'm seeing a GME handle. Apparently, the company is teasing something is coming on X, so keep an eye on GME. That something is coming is not a lot of information, but keep an eye on this stock regardless. If there's anything like headline-wise to explain that market-wide move, I'll let you guys know, but I'm not seeing anything.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. All right, there's a super chat. Shout out to Rustam. $2 super chat. Thank you, Rustam, my man. This channel is super good. No, Rustam, you are super good. Thank you very much for being kind, and thank you for the kind words, my man. I hope you're printing up a storm today, but just be careful on these here markets. As you see, there's a lot of volatility today, and well, obviously volatility is fantastic for intraday traders, but just be careful with that. I do think Adara has breaking news on what just happened. Get it, Adara?
I do, Sharif. And what happened is, again, it's not new, but it is a new wording of the same headline. Now we're saying that I'm seeing reports that apparently a White House official said that Trump is likely to fire Powell soon. Who is this White House official? I don't have a name, but I can bet I would be pretty confident people are going to be asking Trump about this during his bilateral meeting with the Prime Minister of Bahrain. Again, that's expected to happen, I think, within the next 20 to 30 minutes. So I will be following that without a doubt. I'll let you guys know if there's anything of note there. But yeah, I'm sure reporters are very likely to ask Donald Trump about this. Again, earlier today, CBS reported that Trump was expressing interest in firing Powell. Now we have a White House official reportedly saying this as well. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, there we go. A lot of volatility there, Sharif. What do you got cooking up, brother?
I'm getting amped up. So I did what I said, guys. Got stopped out break even, added aggressively a much larger position into 69. We've taken out half the position so far. We're not in the clear. So it did defend that level, okay? It did defend it, but it really hasn't rocketed up. And now the spread is opening up. Anything below that 540 level, I get stopped out on this one. So I'm keeping my eye firmly fixed here on YHC as the market is all sorts of crazy right now. Let's go ahead and take some more out here as it pops back to 585. Look at that. The spread won't allow me to print, despite the fact that I gave it a 5-penny offset. There we go. Now we get printed to the high side. So now I feel a bit more comfortable having de-risked the position now. Now let's see if this one wants to work its way back into the $6 area. Look, I mean, just because it bounced off VWAP doesn't mean it's going to make higher highs and higher lows. YHC feels like it did react to that bad market news. And if that's going to be the case, I don't know if I want to trade this. I don't trade small caps because they move with the market. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's because they march to the beat of their own drum. So I don't need to keep an eye on what the hell Donald is saying, what the NQ is doing, or how many chips Jensen is going to sell in China at any one time. These small caps don't really care about that. So I don't want to see correlation between YHC and the overall market. And I did see that because as soon as we got that news line, it did drop quick as you freaking like. Sorry, Joey Options there. I know I startled you, but
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So we added a little bit here to this NVDA trade. Nothing substantial, but let's see if we can get this breakdown. I mean, the Qs are moving lower. SPY seems relatively weaker than that, but I mean, yeah, we're just gonna sit here. Be posted, be cool as a cucumber to see if we can get a low of the day, but there it is. So I still have a little bit of of this position remaining, so that's why my average is up here now, right? Because once you add it, it obviously gets lifted. So let's see if we can run into 80, 60s, and then I'll just take off what I've added, and then sure enough, leave the rest for a runner to see if we can get a break of the low of the day into 80s. But if NVDA isn't going to start to sell aggressively here with the overall market, then we might be in trouble. So then I'll just cut this at VWAP. Even though I am free rolling right now, I'm going to give it a little bit of room. I don't want to just hop out at my average because I want to use a defined risk profile. That will take away a little bit of the realized gains that we have if it does come stop me out there, but that's all right. We'll find another trade. And I think Baba's a pretty good short here as well too with Dara.
Get it.
More context here on this Trump firing Powell story. So again, a White House official had said that Trump is likely to fire Powell. Now, apparently, the other aspect of this headline I'm seeing is apparently this is going to happen likely very soon, that they don't have a timeline. So depending on how expedient this reported firing is, that could certainly be of note. Keep an eye on crypto. As mentioned, crypto could be a nice counterplay for this, but the market itself breaking into new lows. Will Trump fire Powell? Will he not? We'll have to wait and find out. Back to you.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do, Joseph. And then I'll just pack my bags and get them out of here, right? This guy, bro, this guy, liability. I love him, but he's a liability. All right, we're having a good time here, guys. YHC, the spread is continuing to open up here, 3-4 pennies at times. This displeases me. So I'm continuing to pack my patience, but we have a decent buffer
the market
from
moves
the
like the waves.
Oh. Okay.
From the entry point, subscribe. Guys.
There you go.
That's a better one, right? So we have a decent buffer between the entry, but now what I want to do is I want to move up my stop. I gave it a stop below the $0.50. That is no longer of interest to me. What I will do is give it to current or prior bar low. That is 554. So we're going to go ahead and set up at 553. Kind of random, obviously, especially with that whole dollar being right there, but I don't care. So we'll go ahead and set up just like that for this remaining amount of shares. Let's see if this one's got the cojones to get back above $6. It's still putting a downtrend and has been putting a downtrend since the 5-minute candle that closed at 11:55. I'm talking about that bad boy. That was a topping tail into 650. It was a double top, followed by lower high, lower high. Lower high, lower high, and do you see where I'm going with this? Another lower high. Alas, it's still in a tradable zone for me, so I will continue to hold it. But that's not the only one I'm looking at, guys. As I mentioned, I've got others over here. I'm interested in game here at the 2 1/3, where the volume weighted average price is GAME. Very interesting area here, an aggressive sell-off off that 282. That could be a buy here at VWAP. And then I'm also looking at HUBC, 394 high, dips back into the 10 EMA, has a hammer candle forming currently on the 10 EMA with a bottoming tail look there, currently trading. There it is. Look at that buy. Look at that aggressive buy as I was talking, right up into 385. Let's see how this does. I'm also keeping an eye on VERI, not a big percentage mover, only about 17 3/4, but a very respectable chart pattern there, holding the 10 EMA. This looks like a buy program. Let's see what this one does at the 10, and if it loses the 10, the 20 and VWAP right now are overlapping, so that could be another interesting play there. And then BRNS kind of concerns me. As we've spoken about before, the topping tail candles are not the end-all and be-all. They are not the end of the matter for these small-cap gappers. They usually signify a more localized selling as opposed to an all-out reversal like they would be maybe on an Apple or an Amazon. But that's what I'm keeping my eye on here. Does this hold VWAP? Well, it hasn't really respected VWAP on the day. What it has seemed to respect is the 10 EMA, and the 10 EMA is at 190. And that 190 also happens to be this area top of the topping tail candle. So I don't think I'm going to be buying here unless it really shows me that it's going to hold up at VWAP. I think I'm going to look for that 190 area because it didn't really have a whole lot of respectful interactions with VWAP earlier on. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on. BRNS OP is going to lose its spot here on the side chart anytime. Criminal is a holdover from yesterday, one that we traded, and even Obi had eyes on this one, which I kind of like, so that I'm not the only one looking at these small caps. CRML, a holdover from yesterday, but certainly not the best looking one right now in the market. And one that I said very little about, APM, This is, I think, one of the biggest movers on the market today, if not the biggest. It is the biggest, 273%, at least above $1. And it's putting in a respectable pattern here with certainly a buyer in and around that $3 area. Look at it, trying to take out that 375, but be on the lookout for a bamboozlement. I've seen this story before. When we make an area high, we drop down, we hold a key level of support, like VWAP, for example. And then we start putting in this consolidation pattern. And then you see basically an area top to this consolidation pattern. In this case, it would be 375. And then so you say to yourself, at least I say to myself, if that 375 gets taken, I'm going long. I know there's a seller there who's waiting, and if he gets taken out, then I'm going to go in. Well, I've seen that story before, and then you go into that, and that's the candle that drags everybody in, and then it ends up dropping back down below 3, in this case, below VWAP. So I'm on the lookout for these type of patterns. I've been seeing more of them lately. APM, good, but not fantastic, Joey.
Good look there, brother. So, yeah. Riri, no, we will not be doing that. That's for sure. I'm looking at IBIT. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on for another trade here. Let's see if we can get 80-60. I told you that's my primary target, but we're just kind of chopping around right here. So that's frustrating. I want to find something that's a little bit more orderly and I think can get more of a boost, because shorting NVDA is not easy in my opinion, considering how much strength is behind this stock, right? So this is honestly, this isn't even really one of my A++ setups. I'm like, all right, we're running into this resistance zone. Support zone that can possibly act as resistance, and we had a steady downtrend. So that's why I got in right at the volume weighted average price, and I was fortunate enough to just get this move to the downside. But this little consolidation right here, slightly frustrating, as you can see that we're not being able to break that 80-83 level, and that's going to be equal to 169.80 on NVDA itself. Adair, what do you got for us?
Got it.
Keep an eye here on GS. This thing has been super choppy on earnings day one. We do have Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon currently speaking on CNBC, so be aware if you are trading this stock. He did say that he thinks there's a reasonable chance of 1 or 2 cuts, I'm assuming this year, but he said he's not certain of that. So David Solomon, Goldman Sachs CEO, apparently expecting some uncertainty of any cuts this year. Again, he's currently speaking. Be aware if you are trading GS. Back to you.
Fantastic look there, Adair. Thank you very much for letting us know.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much for that, Adair. Yeah, the market's definitely catching a bounce. I mean, trading the Nas today is not going to be easy whatsoever. You get this flush down lower, then you have this just horrible price action through here, and then you get a volatility spike. You gain that all back. So just keep an eye out on this stuff, guys. With that being said, let's take a look at the VIX, right? Because if the VIX is starting to climb, be aware that that we're going to see some more volatility, and we're going to start to see kind of more fluctuations, and that average true range most definitely start to expand. So there it is, 1672 all the way up to 1748 on the 5-minute with the VIX, guys. So keep in mind, if we do decide to continue this selling, this is going to continue to climb. And I was talking with some of the boys last night. I said, is it time to buy some VIX calls?
What they say.
So I'm looking at that. Yeah, it's a kind of a mixed bag, maybe possibly some on the cash on the sideline. Some are waiting for something else to happen.
Fair.
But I think the VIX calls, I mentioned this, sorry, Adara. I think the VIX calls is a pretty good strat. But one thing that I like even more is VIX puts. But it only happens so often, like every 5 or 6 months you get that massive volatility spike, but we all know that the VIX tends to cool down. So if you buy longer dated puts, I think there's a high probability setup there that you can build a system up.
That's a fantastic point, Doug.
Yeah. So
I'm going to bring Obi in on this after, too.
That I'm looking to do. But, Adara, what do you got for us?
Here's GME. This thing is really breaking out. I mentioned that they posted on X that something is coming. There's also a little video here. I'm not going to play it because I'm not sure if I can, but it's pretty retro style animated little video here. GME teasing some kind of update, but they say stay tuned for updates. So we don't know anything yet, just a teaser. Either way, GameStop pushing to the upside initially, didn't move much on this, but now getting a bit of a push. Back to you.
Yeah, for profit, buy dips, short the VIX. There you go, bang. That's my new motto, my new life motto right there. All right, I'm gonna hop out of this NVDA hot garbage because it doesn't want to break down or anything along those lines. But yeah. I like the VIX play, to be honest with you. So we'll keep an eye out on certain things. Gorev is long Hood. I want to see what Hood's up to today. Is it still north of 100? I haven't even looked at it, to be honest. RGTI, Bitcoin, and another name were my top on my list. But there you go. A nice hammer candle right at the volume weighted average price on Robinhood. Still holding. This thing went to 104. Let's go. This thing is crazy. All right, we love this. We love Robinhood. And another flush. This is crazy. And new flush to the downside. What a massive rejection. Oh, wow. Thank you, Gora, for making me hesitate on that out. And then sure enough, here we go. We're heading right back down here. We're going back to Adara, guys.
She's laughing. I can tell when Adara starts laughing when she gets the call. I know it's going to be good. What is it, Adara? Let's hear it.
I know it's going to be really boring, but there's just more reports that Trump wants to fire Powell. That's really all it is. About 7 minutes ago, an individual by the name of Josh Wingrove shared a post on X. Now, Josh Wingrove is a White House reporter for Bloomberg. He said that, I guess he also is reposting a Bloomberg article here. Donald Trump is likely to move to fire Fed Chair Powell, again citing a White House official. It's worth noting, and someone mentioned this in the chat as well, Anna Paulina Luna, who's a congresswoman, she also posted on X last night that a source tells her they're very close to firing Powell. Again, did not cite her source, so pretty unclear there. But either way, there's been quite a few people circulating that Donald Trump is interested in firing Powell, and that Bloomberg tweet, again from about 7 minutes ago, is getting recirculated heavily on X just right now. I also want to let you guys know, again, for people wondering, can he fire Powell? Powell has said himself that he cannot. As I mentioned earlier, the Supreme Court has said they're not sure if that's legal or allowed, but the one loophole they can have is to fire him for cause. Now, we do have Bill Pulte, who's been a very, very vocal critic of Jerome Powell. He has tried to get the Congress to find a way to fire Powell for cause with regards to the Fed's renovation project. Apparently, Fed Chair Powell is unclear about their issues with the renovation project, and he even asked for a probe of the renovation project to see if there are any issues. So it's unclear if that's going to be a tack they're able to use to get him out. But either way, I just wanted to take a minute to talk and provide some more context. We're also waiting for Trump to meet with the Prime Minister and Crown Prince of Bahrain. If I have details on that, I'll let you know. But right now, the stream just shows the White House. Back to you.
I just got to mention.
Yeah, man.
Don G. Dangler. Yeah, that's what it is, Ob. Polymarket odds for Powell getting fired are going insane, he writes. 10% to 50%, 50, not 15, in 15 minutes. Oh, baby. Look, I love market volatility like the next guy, but come on, Donald, this is crazy.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. Honestly, like, look at all the volatilities that we've experienced here in the market in the past couple of minutes. I mean, this is just, we're almost reliving kind of this whole tariff news and everything like that. And Dara's like, we're going to be going there momentarily because I got to hear what she's, hit the oh my God, siren. But yeah, just keep selling. You know what I mean? We're not asking for too much around here, Sharif. So
she's losing it up there, bro. Are you hearing this?
So let's see what we got. I'm waiting for Assassino. When we get back from Madeira, we're gonna go over the super chats here, folks.
Oh my God.
At the risk of sounding like a broken record, I have some details here on the Trump-Powell situation. I do apologize, but the market is moving. It's pretty volatile, and this is the only news we have today, so I will talk about it as it continues to move the market. Again, I do apologize. New York Times, now citing two individuals, has said, reported that Donald Trump apparently waived a copy of the draft firing letter for Powell to Republican lawmakers. Now, I don't know if they actually saw the letter in full. The report only says he waived the letter towards them. So pretty unclear, not a lot of details. But either way, it seems like not only is he interested in firing Powell, he's apparently indicated that he's written a letter. But yet also the same New York Times report says that Trump hasn't made a decision yet. So he's written the letter, but it doesn't sound like a final decision has been made. Again, very confusing. I do apologize for the continued interruptions. Thank you.
No, I don't. Yeah, they're definitely not interruptions whatsoever. We need to know all this. We, like as Sharif always says, we need to know what this guy's up to.
Yes, yes, Fabian, that is so good. Fabian, I need it immediately. Neil likes it. Slow clap. All right, so if you're old and ancient like me, you know that's White Man Can't Jump. You know that's your buddy there. We go and sizzle. We go and sizzle. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
What a good day.
I don't even know what that means.
Don't worry about it, bro. That's old school movie.
I don't even know what that means, but
oh my God.
Good, brother. I mean, like, come on, man. Just give us the 60 print, Sharif. We're not asking too much.
We going sizzler. We going sizzler. Sorry, guys, we're having a good time. All right, I can't wait to get that one. That
Nikki
one will
says
be
he can
used
jump.
more.
Nikki says he can jump. Love how happy you guys are. Yeah.
Well, I know. Look, the movie is called White Men Can't Jump. I am not making a pronouncement on the veracity of white men's jumping prowess, okay? Dara, like, I got nothing to do with the movie. I just happen to like the movie, right? All right. Shout out to Denise. I love that movie, man. That movie is an absolute classic. I think, man, that it's like, you know, like there's movies every now and again that are like cultural movies that touch at the heart of stuff. I think that one certainly did, man. Especially because it was like not that far after the LA riots.
Oh, really?
Remember the LA riots? Well, you were all of like
that's
zero.
Like the 90s. That's the
exactly.
early 90s. That was in 92 or something.
Something like that. Yeah, I'm actually pretty sure it was 92.
92. I remember LA riots. Yeah, that stuff was chaotic. And then, I remember watching videos on how they attacked the poor truck driver there, and then they threw.
He caught a whooping there.
Yeah, but my guy was he wasn't even doing anything. He was just minding his own business. That's what I don't like, right? When people are just obviously just trying to live their life, and then the guy gets absolutely brutalized. Hopefully he got a good settlement and he's still alive. Well, I mean, that was like 32 years ago. But there it is, guys. Screen. All right, so there it is. That reload on NVDL started to work out. I only have one out left here, guys. We're going to see him. We're going to hold it for the dream, and that is going to be 80. But I told you already, just getting back to my originality of just less trades, more precise opportunities, and here it is, man. I'm waking up. We're live. I rode the bike.
I gotta
go ahead.
Trump reportedly trying to fire Jerome Powell by August 4th. Adara, is there any more information on that you can give us? You can weasel in.
There is not. I honestly, to be honest, I wanted to save everyone the trouble of having to hear me come in again with just like a one-line headline, so I wanted to just give it to you so you could mention it.
I appreciate that, Adara. Thank you very much.
Let's go, man. Look at this breakdown that we're experiencing right here. August 4th weekend. You can't do that. That's Caravana weekend. You have to wait till after that. That's insane. There's no way you can fire him at that point.
I want to go to Veld.
You want to go to Veld that weekend?
I want to go to Veld.
All right, my guy. There we go. We are all out of NVDA here now. What a monster move on that reload as well, guys. So a nice look. Boom, we enter. Pop, Powell. Boom, 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 boom. All the way down. So there we go. Nice look. We got a lot of super chats, a couple of them from our good friend, Big Spile. He's lighting it up. This channel is super good. Thank you, Rustam. We much appreciated that. I'm out. Okay, Rustam Bilyav. Once again, $5 super chat. Thank you, my friend, for that one. I am out with 1.5K profit today and still with SSI, $5.40, still holding OSRH. Let's go. Get it. Print that money. That's what we like to see. $4.99 super chat from our guy, Big.
There he is. There he is.
Come on, Big T. Don't be a Taco Supreme and give Jape the pow. I want to fund the Toronto trip on these puts. Let's go. Summertime Toronto trip. Joe Homer. Okay, let me read this first. Well,
I know, you got to be careful there, you know what I mean? Well, it's okay. Yeah, it's just a bath bomb.
Okay, yeah. In that, so Joe Homer, while you're soaking in that lavender milk bath this weekend, okay, that's crazy. But we can watch the movie, bro. All right, so I can't even tell you the last time I took a bath, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm not a bath guy, so I never.
I washed my dogs
in the bath.
Yeah, I never actually used the bathtub ever.
No, I like my stand-up class stand-up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm good with the standing up. I like standing up for most things. You get it. Come on, now innuendos. Where you at, Joey?
What?
If Trump fires the Fed Powell, both the currency and the bond market can collapse. Come on, trade ideas we're trying to read here. Sorry, guys. The advertisement blocked that. Anyway, there we go. Can collapse according to Deutsche Bank. Yes, Adara, that's the first thing that I said to Joey. We have to be super careful with how the executive overreaches possibly into the domain of the federal bank. So that is a bit of a tougher look there. But we're doing it freaking live on YHC, man. Got in at 569. I took it out there at near the high of the day at 539. So YHC ends up being a banger. We get in twice, guys. First time, not as good. Second time, better. But the reason I got in here, I really want to make this point very clear. This is a volume-weighted average price retracement. So I had a resting order there, and when it dipped down, it triggered. I'm quite happy with this trade. It looks like it's still going here to the tune of 60%. I don't like everything about it. I don't like the 8 penny, 9 penny, 10 penny spread. I don't. It's done 10 million shares, and it's up 60%. Yet it still has a prohibitive spread at times. As you can see there, it tightened up to 1 penny. So it's not always the same look. Now, as we tell you about the good, let me tell you equally about the bad. So I got stopped out of this position. Now, mind you, I had a much smaller position, and I was also able to take some beak wetters up here. But this one, I'm talking about HUBC, loses the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. It is now holding up on a 2-candle basis at the 20. If it shows me that it's finding support at the 20, I will punch back in. The 20 is not a moving average I use right away. I keep it on there to see whether or not the particular instrument I'm looking at on the day is respecting it or not. For the moment, it is, but I'm not going to punch in quite yet. So HUBC, certainly in my purview over here. So is VERI. Now, VERI looks actually quite good over here with a 1 penny spread. The issue is, though, on VERI, even though it's finding support in this candle over here, ended up being a bottoming till hammer candle. Look at the lower highs, man. They're still in play. That 180 break, subsequent candle, 180, subsequent below that, 177, below that, 176, and now we're basically stuck at 176 again. So it's continuing to make lower highs. I don't want to necessarily be punching in aggressively when it's doing that. I would rather draw a trend line, and then once it's broken through that trend line decisively, punch in and see what that one has to offer, Joey. So I'm going to keep an eye out on that. I also want to mention quickly here, APM on the NQ, I believe. This one, as I mentioned, this could be a bamboozler, right? It's got kind of a head and shoulders looking pattern. Not that I really execute too much off these chart patterns on the, what's it called? The small cap gappers. And again, this one I'm concerned about because once it breaks through that 375, 380, I've seen this story before where they kind of bamboozle you into, luring you into the trade. So my suggestion for you on APM, if you're going to get into APM as a long, look to get in at that 20 exponential moving average. Again, not a moving average I use all that much, but this one is showing me respect. Look at all these bottom wicks here that touch the 20. And most notably about these wicks is they're making higher lows. So this one could be, upon further analysis, if you get in at that 3 1/3, 3 1/2, at least you've got a bit of a buffer there for the false breakout. So I'm probably going to weasel in to APM over here if it gives me an opportunity to at the 20 exponential moving average. And it looks like I did get forced out bottom wick over here, Joey. Mm-hmm. Oh, crap. On HUBC. Hey, man, you win some, you lose some. I had to throw my stop somewhere. And this one ends up going negatory for me.
That's all right.
Not on the day, though.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Without further ado, I bring to you the Eminem Show, one of the best albums ever. I like that one. Yeah, that was a good one. I grew up on that one, which probably wasn't the best idea. But hey, you don't really know what half that stuff he's saying means. But
honestly, that's accurate.
Right?
That's accurate. You don't even really know what's going on.
You don't even know. Yeah. But the thing is, though, which is crazy. Sorry to kind of digress here, but. Down, baby.
No,
yeah, that crazy. But what he's actually saying is like it's not good. It's actually very, very violent.
Nelly is a household item.
Yeah. But we're going to Adara there, guys.
Get it, Dara.
Keep an eye here on TSLA. This is kind of more tangential than anything else, but it is worth noting Bloomberg reporting that XAI, which is, of course, also owned by Tesla CEO Elon Musk, is reportedly in talks to lease data center space in Saudi Arabia. So, again, Bloomberg reporting that XAI, another Musk company, is set to potentially lease some data space in Saudi Arabia. Back to you.
Your boy Joey Options is a liability, my boy. He's a liability.
Now this is a liability right here. Don't listen to what they have to say. I'm an innocent soul. But guys, yeah, this is the trade, right? And it's similar to what we had going on with AMD. I do think that this market is slightly toppy. That's just my opinion. You can't go essentially almost 100% return in NVIDIA without having any form of a pullback. But one thing I want to note, this is why I had a bearish outlook on some of these names. Let's zoom out and take a look at the daily for this here. is this, right? So you have the kind of this island gap, as Sharif would like to call it there. Island. No, I'm not giving those guys any credit. They're doing weird stuff out here. But there it is. This indecision print, we don't crack this at the open. So that's why I just had a slight bearish kind of bias on it today. And we are going to Adara. Oh, it's us.
We're doing the crypto
we're
segment,
doing the crypto
baby.
segment.
All right, so look, let's just get to the main crypto headline right now. Look, if we get Donald Trump actually firing Jerome Powell, this could be a very big tailwind for Bitcoin. It has been part of the reason Bitcoin made a big move as of late. The market doesn't want the executive meddling with the Fed because of the money supply issue. So I'm very interested to see exactly how Bitcoin trades if we do get that confirmation that Jerome Powell will be relieved of his duties. So I'm going to be very much interested in that. That's kind of what I'm looking for there. But to add to that, Joseph, we have Crypto Week, 3 pieces of legislation making their way in the House of Representatives right now. 11 of the Republican holdouts that didn't vote the way of the way that they wanted to yesterday on the Genius Act are actually met with Donald Trump at the White House yesterday. Apparently, according to him, he's flipped 11 of their votes. So there's one holdout.
Hey, beautiful stuff there as always. And we know over the past couple of weeks, guys, we've had record inflows into the IBIT ETF, which is really important. And if you pull up my screen here, you can see that definitely had a positive influence on what's going on here in the actual spot Bitcoin itself. So you can see that we went from a $2.1 trillion market cap. This is the market cap here, guys, up to roughly just under $2.5 trillion. So that's a big time move. And we know that Bitcoin was one of the most successful ETF launch of all time. So a really, really positive look. And I think that we're going to continue to climb here in Bitcoin. And maybe it's meme coin season?
Yes, sir.
Maybe not. We'll find out. Adara.
We'll do some more crypto talk here because this Ethereum has just been looking really good. This is the daily chart. I think 15-minute chart as well. We're in a nice, steady uptrend. It's worth noting that, of course, there are these other plays in the space. We know Ethereum was discussed pretty heavily this morning as well with Obi and Neil. And let's take a look as well at XRP and some of these other plays. XRP on the 15, a little bit choppy, but looking kind of similar to Bitcoin. We make a high, we push a little bit lower, and right now trying to curl back up. Let's see what we do at that level just above 3. We'll take a look at Solana and Cardano as well to provide some other opportunities. A lot of these looking really similar, a little bit of a rounded bottom. Let's see if they're able to fulfill that pattern. Cardano looking pretty similar. So Solana, Cardano, Ripple, all poised for a breakout. Let's see if that comes to fruition. Ethereum, meanwhile, it's been broken out. Let's see if it can continue that momentum.
Yeah, well said there, Dara. All right, let's get to APM over here. So I've got 307s on. I had a good position on this one, and I've scalped out a substantial amount over here as it zigs and zags now at that $0.75. Now here's the deal. This one did lose the 10 exponential, and it did lose the 20. But the 20 and the 10 were awfully close to one another. So I was like, look, this is a breakdown here. This feels like a stop punt. And I was absolutely right, because look at it rocketing right back up into 3 1/3. It's taken out all my orders over here. So here we go. Now show me 34. We almost had 35 there. This candle, if it closes, wow, right up into 40s. If this candle closes, it'll be a hammer candle. I'm still going to hold a piece. I won't take it all out. I'm going to look, in fact, to add to this one if it can take out 375. It's taken out all my orders right now. There's only one order left here in the mid 40s. So be on the lookout here. APM, what a hold off the volume weighted average price. I have bottom wick on this one. This one feels good. Now we're going to wait to see if we can add some more because we don't have that many shares left. Full disclosure, we're going to look for a 375 break and take decisively. Not this garbage that I saw over here where it makes one candle makes a new high only to end up finish red and dropping like 60 pennies. That's the kind of stuff that gets you in trouble. So this was looking like a little flat bottom breakish. So now that I've taken out the majority of the position, I move up my stop to break even. In fact, I'll just give it like 1 penny room. So we'll wait at 306 instead of 307, and we'll go ahead and wait there. So this one will be a break even trade if we do get pushed out to the downside over here. Now, there's other ones moving, man. HUBC, I feel awfully stupid on this one. I mean, I had to put my stop somewhere, and the reason I put my stop at 69 was not my love for that number, but no, really, because it was prior bar low. Look at this bottoming tail candle here, which obviously saw a buyer at 70. So I said, look, the buyer at 70 stepped in there so much so that the candle ended up closing at 79. Put your stop at 69. Well, that was the wrong thing to do because this thing rocketed right back up, right into the 3 mid-80s. So this one hurts a little bit over here. HUBC, it's a very small loss for me on the day, but it's still, it just bugs. It bugs. Anyway, Adair, go ahead.
Just be aware here, Donald Trump has started this bilateral meeting here with the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Bahrain. This just began. I'll let you guys know if there's anything of note being said here. But usually, I would say pretty much every time I've seen this, they will take some questions for the most part from journalists and reporters. So if there are any questions specifically about the potential firing of Fed Chair Powell, I will certainly let you all know. Also, this headline, not super market moving, but I think very much worth noting. Bloomberg reporting that Scale AI is going to be cutting 14% of its staff after that Meta investment. Back to you.
14%. There you go. Very interesting stuff. Shout out to Alexander Wang. But yeah, okay, so Jimmy in the chat, sorry that we missed this, but trust me, people don't forget. So here we are. We're going to take a look at Apple. Yeah, you wanted to take a look at the options chain. 215, some overhead resistance right there. Once at that 215 strike price, 65,100 current open contracts can most definitely act as potential resistance. Let's pull up spot itself to see what we got going on spot. But, ooh, wow. Okay, Apple 212.44 was the high. What do we got there? Okay, so there's the resistance coming in prematurely, 212.50, and then we put in a high of 212.44. So what are the chances of that? You can see we have a congestion zone, 65,000, 29,000, and 46,000. You're not going to see anything other than up here. So that would probably be max pain on the week, but I don't think that Apple is going anywhere close to $230 by the end of the week. But anything can happen. As someone who once taught me, this is the jungle, and be prepared. Things can come out of the blue when you are in the jungle, and that's what the market is, in my opinion. It can be chaotic at times, but so just always be cautious and always have a head over your shoulder, because you never know. You get those volatility spikes. People were just mentioning, okay, I got my face ripped off on the volatility, blah, blah. I seen somebody in the chat say that they blew up their funded trading account today on a volatility spike. I'm sorry to hear that, but this is what's happening when we are getting these deals done. Donald Trump is most definitely going to be bringing volatility into this market.
Hold on, Joey.
Oh, you're trying to work on that one there. All right, he needs that one. I hope my head is always over my shoulders. Yeah, welcome to the jungle. Exactly. Will the jungle welcome us at least? Here, there's fun and games. Yeah, okay, so now everybody's just singing the song there, and I'm reading them like they're...
It's pretty. It's so pretty.
So good. I love how Wesley Snipes, he leads up. You see how it's pretty, it's so pretty. He just adores himself, this guy. You guys got to watch this movie, man. It's if you haven't already. Sorry to interrupt you, Joe. I just had to make sure that bad boy was working. You know what I mean?
Wesley Snipes played Blade, didn't he? He was Blade.
Yeah,
that's like the first Marvel movie, isn't it?
He did a bunch. He had he was a monster in the 90s, man.
Yeah,
I mean, absolutely. He had Money Train. That was again with Woody Harrelson there. What else? He had White Man Can't Jump. Man, he had a ton of them. Neil, give me. Yes, J-Lo was in Money Train as well. Remember they fought over her? Man, why is it always those two fighting over a girl? Because that was kind of like the same situation there as well in White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah.
So Blade, Art of War.
The Art of War.
Who else, man? Demolition Man. How am I forgetting Demolition Man? With obviously Sylvester Stallone. Dude, Demolition Man predicted a lot of the insanity that we got with COVID.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. More to come on that, Adair.
Yeah, I don't like Sly too much, but that's all right.
Wow. I already got up once.
Just be aware here, we do have Donald Trump now taking questions, during his meeting with the Prime Minister and Crown Prince of Bahrain. I'll let you guys know if there's anything of note, but the fact that this question period has begun is significant. Back to you.
U.S. Marshals, New Jack City. What else, man? The dude ran the 90s. right? He was jacked. He could act. What else, man? He obviously had different looks. Like you had him with blonde hair in Demolition Man. Adara, are you okay? Are we gonna need to get someone up there? Adara's losing it up there. Like, tell us, Adara.
So Donald Trump was just asked what his justification would be for firing Fed Chair Powell. He said he's too late. He's always been too late. That's why his nickname is Too Late. So it sounds like Fed Chair Jerome Powell, I guess if Trump fires him, the reasoning will be that he is too late. We're gonna have to wait and see any more updates here, but it was his actual response to what his cause would be for firing Powell. It would be that he is too late. Back to you.
He's not lawyering up here. Because if he had lawyered up, his counsel would have told him, you need to actually have for cause, not your cause, legal cause.
Saying all this stuff.
So, Adara, you got to take it easy, Adara. Okay, Adara, just come in. Tell us what happened.
So Donald Trump just said that he was surprised that Fed Chair Powell was appointed. This is interesting when you consider the fact that he was appointed by President Donald Trump.
So there you go. Jerome's probably like...
No, but seriously though, so if they were going to get him for cause, you've heard about what they're talking about there with respect to the upgrades, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we got breaking news. We got to go back to it.
All right.
Yeah, so the other thing, too, the reason this market's bouncing right now potentially is Trump said he is not planning on doing anything when it comes to Powell. So it sounds like he at least has said he's not planning on firing Powell, though he did say, again, as I mentioned earlier, if he does fire Powell, his reasoning would be that Powell is too late. So all that being said, he said apparently he's not planning on doing anything. He just said that. So we'll have to wait and see. But tons of stuff happening here, guys. Back to you.
Jerome's probably like, I don't need any of this.
But no, he's a stubborn guy, bro.
Is he?
Yeah, look at him, man. He doesn't budge on the rates. He doesn't quit. He doesn't answer the questions. He doesn't even respond back to Donald.
No, I mean,
he's a stubborn guy.
It was a couple years of essentially, I think every meeting that we had, it was essentially the same answer that you get: data dependent, dual mandate, maximum employment, 2% price stability, and I think that's what his narrative was through this whole quantitative tightening cycle. So I mean, hey, it is what it is. But if that was me, I would honestly be right onto True Social. If I'm Jerome Powell, I'd get my PR team to be like, hey, do it. Shut up, Dan. And just be like, shut up, Donald. Like, just stop talking. We know you don't like each other, and just leave it at that. Like, he's obviously not going to be able to do anything, so just stop obviously poking the guy. He's not going to cut the rates. It's that simple.
You're listening to this, dude. Dara.
Trump just said that being the Fed chair might be the easiest job you've ever seen if you're smart, but it's hard if you're a dummy. He also said that it doesn't sound like he's interested in putting in Scott Bessent, though he did say that Kevin is a fantastic guy. He could be referring to either Kevin Hassett or Kevin Warsh. I'm guessing Kevin Hassett in this case. So as I mentioned earlier, Kevin Hassett is increasingly rising in the rankings in terms of who could be the new Fed chair.
Don't close the door yet.
Okay.
Did you hear about the rumor that Scott Bessent could actually be Treasury Secretary and Fed Chair, and apparently there's nothing legal to prohibit that?
I did not hear that, but it does not sound like Trump even is interested in that. And we already previously had the White House as well saying that Scott Bessent's not going to be the option. Scott himself hasn't closed the door, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. He also called Powell a knucklehead again just now.
But we all know that Donald Trump, you can't really predict what the hell he's going to do. That's his main strength, is his unpredictability.
Yeah, which
so
actually
one day,
Bessent said himself. Bessent himself said that his strategic unpredictability is one of Trump's biggest strengths.
Yeah, well, that kind of feels like it is the case, to be honest with you, Dara. Havana Woody, really, can Powell actually make a rate change without the entire board voting to? So that's a great question, because everybody, or well, not everybody, there's a majority of the members that actually have to vote for it. But in reality, though, it is a Fed chair-centric board, and everybody knows that. So it's as the Fed chair does, usually as others do. So, you know, I get that there are other members as well, in the technical sense, but it's very much led by the chair. So this is really interesting to see. I think I don't know personally, I've never seen this unfold in this way. I think we're in uncharted territory. How the market digests this and how we end up moving along is going to be super interesting to watch, but never a freaking dull moment when this guy is in the White House.
No, it was cool for a couple of months, and then now we're getting the volatility to pick right back up. So we know what was going on with the tariffs, and then now we're getting him, and he just wants to fire Powell. But Adara, happening now in the news lesson of the day.
So all of these questions right now with this bilateral meeting here with Trump and the Prime Minister and Crown Prince of Bahrain are entirely focused on Powell. He was just asked, is it true that you waved around a letter for Fed Chair Powell and for firing Fed Chair Powell? He said, I didn't wave around a letter, but I did discuss the possibility of firing him. Now, he was asked, would you fire him? And he said, maybe, but not immediately. It's something they're thinking about right away. Either way here, I do apologize. This whole happening now segment is likely going to involve this topsy-turvy market. We did have that drop coming in, I guess around 11, just before 11:30 a.m. when we started hearing reports that Donald Trump, president of the U.S., is imminently preparing to fire Fed Chair Powell. Then we got this pop back up in this most recent candle here back to 556 after we had Trump saying that he's actually not imminently firing Powell. So we're going to have to wait and see. Trump did mention just now that the possibility of firing Powell for cause. In terms of market-related news, I mean, certainly keep an eye on crypto. Ethereum, especially strong here. We know that crypto week is still in full swing, even though there was a bit of a setback yesterday with that delay to get this motion moved forward for these votes or these bills. Now, before we send you back to Neil and his lesson of the day, we're going to take a time to thank our friends at Top One Futures. Are you looking to trade futures like the Nasdaq, SPY, or even Bitcoin? Top One Futures is one of the fastest growing prop firms out there, and they give traders the chance to manage up to $1 million in capital. Pick your path. Instant funded, Challenger Pro account, and start trading your way to real payouts and even a live account. In the last 90 days alone, they've paid out over $10 million and earned over 1,000 five-star reviews from real traders. Use the discount code TTV to save in any account. Scan the QR code or head to top1futures.com and start trading towards your next payout. Tons of earnings to look at, tons of markets, tons of catalysts, tons of stocks. But for now, we're going to look at Neil and his lesson of the day. So without further ado, take it away, Neil.
Thank you, Dara. I'm going to keep this as simple as possible so you guys can get back to doing what you're doing, which is great. We're just covering the news. When we have events like this, the more whipsaw action and the bigger the volatility is, there's two things required. One of them I'll get to, which is really easy, is shift your focus maybe to just getting quickly in and out. And if a stock reverses on you, don't even think, just take your profit and run in these moves. Quick example in IBIT. When we've got the first Trump Powell nonsense, we bounced right off VWAP. What was the mistake made? I'll hold on to a piece for the dream. I held on to 10% to watch it stop that candle. No. When you're in this whipsaw action, just take the position out and wait for the next run and make the next trade. And then get out if you're shorting at the top. Take it one station at a time or two stations at a time. Don't let it come all the way back because you've got to make quicker decisions when you have that whipsaw action. The second part is, the bigger the moment, the bigger the volatility, the bigger the volume, the more important it is that you can take a breath and make sure that you are calm in your trading. It is so easy to get hyped up, and I know we get hyped because the markets can be exciting when they're moving like this. But the bigger the moment, the more it requires you to stabilize yourself in the midst of all of that chaos to make quality decisions. I know it's counterintuitive when you see the excitement of going on in the show, but if you want to stay profitable, you can't just start making decisions when you're in this in this haze because the market's giving you that feeling. You want to make sure that you can calm things down and slow things down for yourself. Whatever process works for you, go ahead and do that. So that's the two things I want you guys to know. But the first, from a trading perspective, sometimes you've got to flip the switch and go into extreme scalp mode. Meaning snipe in, snipe out, and adjust your trading pattern until things calm down. So there's your lesson of the day, short and sweet. Obviously, the market's going to stay relatively volatile. Keep an eye on the 10-year bond yield. The market caught a bid when we got to 4 or 5 and reversed. That was kind of the signal that we bottomed out. So if you're not watching yields, you probably should be. Back to the midday.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I just crushed a couple of pieces of chicken there that we had for lunch. I thought they were pretty good, considering maybe we'll make it a little bit more positive talk, considering what I know a lot of people in the chat are getting frustrated, but that's all right, guys. There's always going to be some other opportunities and cleaner price action. I mean, the market is relatively choppy right now, and what's going on between Donald Trump and Jerome Powell is going to bring some volatility into these markets, right? So just just be prepared for that. I like what Neil was touching on there. Is just you're going scalp mode. Another way you can get around this volatility is you got to go like cut your size in half and just give yourself like extremely wider stop, right? So as the average true range starts to pick up, starts to increase, that's when you want to slightly size down, give yourself a wider stop, just so you're not subjected to being in some of these volatility spikes, right? Because if you have those really tight stops and you get those volatility spikes, then you're done. You're just going to get chewed away. So smaller size, wider stop. And I think that's going to be the name of the game. Max Rogers says, taco spinner, all right, breathe in, breathe out, great opportunities. Yeah, I think so. And I was talking with a couple of people in the chat. To be honest with you, August was absolutely horrible for me. But there's always something positive we can take from these things, right? Like it was obviously not fun being in part of that volatility, especially if you're a long bias trader like myself. But it also helped me flip my game around to the point where it's like, okay, be accepting of the price action. And if you have to flip and if the shorts are really working out for you, just continue to hammer them. So I think that's really, really important to note there, guys. Adara, what do you got for us?
Just be aware here, Google on watch, GOOGL. I put this headline on the screen during Neil's Listen of the Day because it just came out there. But Google announcing as of about 2 minutes ago that more advanced AI capabilities are coming to Google search. Back to you.
Yeah, I really like Google search, Adara. I think it's time. Our good friend Sundar said that they're going to be switching things up, and that's going to lead to longer prompts and more, obviously, activity on that. So we'll wait to see. I mentioned this before, that this is going to be a really big earnings report. I'm looking for the backing of cloud here. I think that's going to be big time important, but obviously search is going to be probably the hyper-focus factor in this earnings report. We'll see what's going on with that. I'm glad that they're starting to interpret Gemini in the search engine, and because I think that's really important. And when you have, I mentioned this before, Blue Link Society, where you're used to scrolling, but now you can just go on Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini, and just type in these one-word answer, and get that one-word answer or that one-link answer. Then things can most definitely change. But I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on with Google.
You're not worried that your friend Copilot's going to get a little jealous?
No.
Of you liking...
No.
Okay, that's fine.
Copilot doing big things too.
I just busted out some Mandarin back there to your boy Michael.
What'd you say?
I told him to eat more meat.
Ooh.
Dolce ishe roll.
Dolce.
Come on, guys. Where are you guys at in the chat? Did I do that well, or am I, still a little bit? The big smile, ear to ear. What really kind of kept me pumped about that is he understood what the hell I was saying.
Yeah?
So my accent's not too bad. All right, guys, here we go. Stephanie Wang, did I completely screw that up, Stephanie? Let me know. I mean, I think I got it okay there. At least it sounds like what the app says. All right, we're doing it freaking live again on YHC, man. Got in on the first 5-minute candle to make a new high, and this is rocketing up back into that 40 area. We've taken out some shares here on YHC. This is the third time I am in this stock. It keeps putting in higher highs and higher lows. I'm going to keep my eye on this one. Next beak wetter goes at 45s. We'll see. It's showing me 43s. Let's see if we can get that 45 quick as you like. Showing 45 there on, showing 46 on the ask side. And there's the fill. We'll continue to wait for some more there. How'd I do? If you don't eat you meat, you can't have your pudding. Shout out to Dijon Mustard. I like that one. My guy, yeah, yeesh, yeah. All right, man, all right, okay, so it looks like, Stephanie says not bad. Okay, so I'm not that bad then, I guess. Close enough, Lee Jiawei says. Look, I'm getting better, man. I'm committed. I'm 100% committed. At the end of this month, guys, at the end of this month, it will be 1 full year. Never having gone more than 3 days without practicing. So I don't always get 7 days every week practicing, but sometimes the minimum I'll do is 4. On average, I'm doing 5 to 6 most of the time, and I'm super pumped about it, man. I've never kind of learned a new language aside from French, and I don't really care about that.
What's your streak at? Is it still cooking up there?
Pardon me?
Your streak?
Yeah. You want proof?
Yeah,
I know you want proof because you're that kind of guy, bro.
No. I just asked.
You're that kind of guy.
Take your word for it.
I'll give you all the proof you need, my guy. We're gonna doing it live right now. We're gonna show everybody. I don't know why it's taking so long. Maybe because it's a 13 Pro Max, right? Old ass phone. There you go. What does that say, Joey?
Yeah. Nice work there, bro.
136 days. Yeah, man.
Add me, brother, and I'll play you in chess.
I have Ram on there. You know what Ram Ram's name is on Duolingo?
No.
Sharif is a hater.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah.
Right,
So
that's showing the love,
fine
man.
there, yeah. Shout out
So
to Ram.
add me on Duolingo.
I will.
And anybody too. I'll play you in chess at any given moment.
I don't want to play chess.
Why?
Joey.
Why?
I don't care. I don't care. Joey's the best because Duolingo now has been trying to get you to do math and chess. They're offering math and chess now, and they like force it down your throat while you're doing the lessons. They're doing these ads, and your boy over here, like I see him like taking a break as well. He's fair completely, but he's chess boxing. I don't know about that. Would you do chess boxing?
Obviously.
That'd be great. That's a good vacation game. You know what I mean? Like, those big chess boards on the resorts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would absolutely do chess.
That would be fantastic. What's your rating? Joe Iggy wants to know.
I don't even know how to find that.
Oh, I doxed Ram? Yeah, I know why. It's okay. She's never on it anyway. I don't think it matters. The app keeps telling me, invite Ram. Sharif is a hater back. Invite her. Send her an invite. I'm like, there's no point, man. I just can't talk to the app, though. Soon, when they're all AI apps, will be good. Jeffrey Epstein's ghost.
Yeah, what's up with that name?
Yeah, that's a name there. Sharif, shave the mustache. No, but you know what I'll do? Boom! Into the YHC at the high of the day. We'll take the profits there, guys. This has been a good day, my guys, on YHC. This one's on the rampage to the high side. Be on the lookout. Joseph Wilson, we're continuing to print high of day right now. It's on a breakout, 72% and going right now on YHC. This is the chosen one, at least for now, but be careful. I'm going to say it. I sound like a broken record, but I don't care. They're around for a good time, not a long time. Trade them accordingly. Joey.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. We're just looking to pick something else here. And I mentioned this before, right? It's all about precision for me as of late. And I just want to continuously put on those good trades. With that being said, there is some opportunities that are presenting themselves. I've seen Apple has an inverted hammer candle right below VWAP, but then also Baba has this candle right here. So that can be a positive short. Maybe we get a retest. As long as we don't crack this, then I'm going to be looking to get involved. You can see an additional one right here. And then with this retest, it just that small liquidity grab, couldn't push any higher, and then moves slightly lower. But this is what I'm talking about, right? Like, so we get the GDP print coming from China, 5%, a little bit north of that, whatever it may be, and you go on this monster run here in Alibaba. It was up 8% at its highs, and then bang, look at it right as you open up, boom, you flush half of that move, and then now we're right back in towards yesterday's opening price, even a little bit south of that. So for me, it's just that it's so hard to be invested in these names and for me to justify buying any of them. And with that being said, I'm not going to bash them, or I don't want to bash them anymore, but that's just me. I don't want to get involved, but what I do want to get involved with here is a little bit of IBIT there, Sharif, to see if these support levels can hold. I think this is going to be a really, really big moment. That's the key thing, right? So you want to get the lower end of the range, and you have to give it the low of the day, and that's when you're really, really wrong. But one thing to note, these are consistent lower highs, so I would suspect that maybe even if we do break through the volume-weighted average price, we might sell a little bit lower, and that's just us listening to what the market is telling us. So maybe I'm talking myself out of that specific trade. The market is going to be in play today considering how much volatility spikes we've had. So just give it some time, and I'm sure that we'll find some orderly price action. So here you go. Opening drive, really weak. Then we have all this choppy, weak price action. You get those flushes, another volatility. This is a volatility spike. You move back up, another volatility spike. And then eventually you print this hammer candle right at the lows, and now you get this bounce. But let's just do some basic TA. Consistent lower highs. So if you run into the top end of this trend line one more time, look for any forms of indecision and then look to fade that until it sits on top and climbs higher and breaks through some of these pre-market highs. I think that this market can be a continuous short throughout the session, Sharif.
All right, Jag D Mag wants me to look at quadruple U, and that I shall do. This is one that Mitch, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, did point out to Brendo, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Mitch is on Tuesdays. And this is a nice breakout area here from local highs. So just before we go on, quadruple U is Energy Fuels Inc. They're a global critical mineral company. They produce several of the raw materials needed for clean energy: uranium, vanadium, heavy mineral sands, HMS, rare earth elements, REE, again. So all that stuff that, China is basically hanging over our head, right? With the at least temporary restrictions on exports for rare earths, etc. So this has been a hell of a breakout. You had an upward channel already forming here, guys, which was already bullish in and of itself. And then you got a breakout in addition to that from the upward channel. And I'll submit to you that upward channel has been intact now for some time. Let me adjust this trend line over here because it looks all wonky. Yeah, that is a hell of an upward channel. So very bullish in and of itself, having an upward channel. And then you get breakout on volume. Have a gander at that volume profile right there. Your boy Joey Options would certainly be looking at that. And it takes out, look at that, increase on volume on the breakout. Look at that upward channel, Joey. And then you get the breakout of the upward channel.
That is big.
Yes, Superman. That's so good, dude. Yes. So that 750 break, this is a hell of a name. By the way, I like the name. I like the sector. And we saw the MP move yesterday with Apple throwing $500 million into MP, quadruple U, another name. This has been on my uranium watch list for a really long time because, well, they do uranium as well. They have uranium. Let's look at the intraday chart. I think we're kind of consolidative a little bit intraday. Come on, so embarrassing. All right, so I'll have to wait for this piece of crap to load, but there we go, it's loaded. So quadruple U is the ticker. I love this hold over here. Now, most people would be thinking, oh, look at this 785 area, VWAP hold, maybe. But to me, it was a hold of the pre-market high. I love when there's a very clear area of resistance, up flat, and then you get a drop like the V-shape like we got here. You end up clearing it, no problem, right? Almost doubling the distance between the top and the breakdown level there. Almost double. It's basically almost double. And then it comes back down and tests that exact area. So look, comes back down to 785. I'm an interested buyer there. However, be on the lookout here for a break and take of 8, especially if the market moves and the sector in general moves. Look for that high day break. But this is a name that I'd be interested in for a possible swing or maybe even an investment. Quadruple U, look, man, we're not going to be able to rely on the Chinese, nor do we want to rely on the Chinese, right? Just for our own national security purposes. Forget about, the consumer aspect of things. Think about the military applications, right? Think about the dependency that we had during COVID on PPEs, on in Canada, we don't have our own vaccine production, so we were completely reliant on others. I think that has it's a wake-up call for when shit hits the fan. What's going to happen, right? And you got to be ready. So I think that this is one of those things, one of those industries where these rare earths and everything else, these commodities are going to be basically, you're going to look to reshore them. And so that's I really like this play, dude.
Didn't our old guy try to invest a bunch of money in a vaccine plant here?
There is one opening in Montreal. It should be, it's viral vector though. It's not even mRNA. It's the old type of vaccines. And I don't want to hear anything about COVID. I don't give you-know-what about COVID. But what I was really interested in hearing about was them using this mRNA thing for other stuff, the cancers, the other issues that we have. That's kind of what I was hoping for. And we've heard like almost nothing about that. At least I haven't.
Yeah, fair.
Right? So that's my thinking there. Anyway, I want high-speed rails. Who's that? Is that you, Chilean Nightmare? Was that you, Ram Ram? Assassino, that's you? So who said I want high-speed rails? Fabian? It was Fabian. Fabian, why are you lying to me, bro? I want high-speed rails too, dude. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a high-speed rail or two. You ready?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm big time ready. Savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3X daily leveraged ETFs featuring built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, Sharif, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market.
Better be ready.
Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing.
You know what they say, right? Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Exactly. Hey, that's it. You know what else they say?
What do they say?
Failing to prepare.
Preparing to fail. My guy. Yes, sir.
So
yes,
that
sir.
in there, guys. And make sure you're doing your pre-market analysis and everything, because if you're not preparing, you're preparing to fail. That's for sure.
Well, straight up.
All right, we're going to Adara here momentarily. I might possibly like the shorts on the TQs here. As you can see, we rejected this level. So we're going to keep an eye out on this one and maybe get involved in some small size.
Got it, Joe.
So do you guys know reporters have been asked to leave this event? So I guess it's over. Donald Trump said his final remarks. No more questions happening here at this, this bilateral meeting with Trump and the Prime Minister and Crown Prince of Bahrain. There's something really interesting being said within the last bit, which is why I haven't commented. Pretty light right now for news. A little bit of a calm period now. Back to you.
Fair for that.
Thank you. Yeah, very much so. Yeah, guys, let's take a look at the TQs here. I want a long IBIT. Yeah, I'm kind of just stuck in between a couple of names. What do I do? So I want to get involved in with this potential short. We were looking at this not too long ago. You can see that we have this trend line and we're rejecting it once again right here, but we're also hovering right around the volume weighted average price. So keep an eye out for this one. But then I also want to get involved in some Bitcoin long here potentially. But we have that definitive trend line. So I'll be patient on this name, and until it cracks and sits above this trend line, then I won't be getting involved on that one. But I do like the Qs a little bit more, so I'm going to be keeping my eyes on that. And VDL, we're all out of that one, guys. That worked out pretty good for us. And then I was just basically using the options chain in order for me to base these shorts. I told you guys I've been looking to do this for some time, and now this is forward testing, right? It's like you can do all the back testing, go back. Unfortunately, you can't see the open interest previously, obviously, because all the options go to option heaven after they expire. What, that's good. Yeah, that's where they go, man. So, so that's what I got going on. But NVDA, lots of OI, and I wouldn't be surprised if we close below 170 on the week. And I think a bearish case would be below 165. So, I mean, we got 105,000 contracts there. At that 170 strike price, we have 140,000 contracts, so that's some substantial size. And I'm talking about like earnings reports size and everything along those lines. We've been monitoring this names and its open interest for quite some time now, so it's time for us to start putting these trades to work. So that's what I'm looking at, potential short. The Qs is working out here, Sri, so I'm going to get involved here.
Okay, sounds good. Let's bring in the side chart over here because this trade is going to haunt me on the day. This is going to be my only loser today, at least so far. I mean, the day is still young. I can lose more money. HUBC. I executed so poorly on this one, and now it has kind of shown its hand here with an attempt yet again at that 394 high a day. This current candle that we're currently on has a 393 high. So the sellers still, not allowing this one to breach the high of the day. So I'm going to keep my eye on this one. Any retracement, though, into the 20 exponential moving average, which is the yellow line on the chart, I'm a buyer. Okay, you have gotten defends here at the 10, but it's a bit of a crowded trade there. So I'm going to keep my eye on HUBC. Definitely interested in getting back into this one. BRNS is one that Bovin has been telling me about basically all day, and I haven't executed anything on this. There was a couple of reasons. One, it had a bunch of topping till candles. Then when we started the show, it lost VWAP, so I kind of lost my concentration on it. It regained it, and then it showed its propensity to respect it. What do I mean by that? So it lost it over here. It definitely held that $1.90 area, which was quite interesting. I think that's actually an area I pointed out, but I didn't execute on that. That's, again, on me. But it ended up clearing VWAP, getting back above, substantially above VWAP. And then it started using VWAP here as an area defend. So this is an interesting look right now on BRNS. I'm just looking at this a little bit further. Is this VWAP respect or 10 EMA respect? I think I'm going to punch in here.
Do it.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm going to get in here. It's right at the area. There it is. Okay, so here it is right now. Let's flip to this one on the 5-second chart, just so I can see. By the time I do that, it's going to be gone. I just know it. I'm going to get in over here, and I'll give it to VWAP. So we're going to give this one the old college try. Now, this one has it's been basically very wicky, in other words. I mean, if you can't really see that on this chart, look at this. It's had multiple topping tails, bottoming tails as well. So really emphasize your trades here on the closing print, and a lot easier said than done. But I'm keeping my eye on this one. I'd like to DCA into 230. If 230 is given up there, then I think I'm just going to get out of this one. But we're going to give this one a try. BRNS, it's got a 292 high. Let's see if this 10 EMA is what I think it is, and maybe it ends up holding as support. So we'll put a beak wetter in the high 40s and then the mid 50s, and then I'll set up in the high 50s, knowing full well that I don't mind adding into that 5 1/3, and here it comes again. So I'm going to keep my eye on this one, Joey, as it comes back into that 230. I want to say anything below 220, I'm going to have to end this trade.
Absolutely. All right, guys. With Trade the Pool swing trading programs, you can get access up to $40,000 in buying power to trade real shares, not CFDs. You can hold positions overnight, over the weekend, and enjoy limited risk. Thanks to a one-time evaluation fee, no monthly payments, no hidden costs. Take Vincent J, for example, one of Trade the Pool swing traders. He's already locked in $23,082. His top performer, NMAX. He shorted it from April 20th to May 30th and put in a $6,700 gain. Trade the Pool is giving swing traders the tools, the time, and the capital to thrive. Scan the QR code and enjoy 10% off. Trade the Pool. Yeah, maybe I like the swing trade idea. So, you know, you throw around some more money, swing around some more money, I guess we can say. So, guys, yeah, where's my stop on this one? We have an average of 83.92. We're going to give it to the high around 50 cents or so of this range. If it cracks that range, then we'll just hop out. And I would suspect that the market is going to continue to climb higher if it does and break that downtrend. Now, what has broken the downtrend, obviously something that is working. I'm in the opposite side of this, but I'm going to be looking to add into TQs a little bit here. But there you go. You break that downtrend on IBIT and maybe possibly going to break through this key level. I think 67.70 flat is going to be very, very interesting and something that we need to keep our eyes on. Now, let's take a look at IBIT. We were talking about, we had Crypto Watch not too long ago. What we need to talk about is the influence of options on Bitcoin. I think it's extremely, extremely important to do so. And I'm really curious to what you guys think about this as well, all right? So, we know we had the launch of IBIT last year, or 2 years ago, maybe even now, a year and a half ago, whatever it may be. I remember I was buying it. It was in March or whatever. I'm not going to get the exact date. But then following that, months later, IBIT became optionable. And what can this lead to? A slight cooling in volatility. And you can see from when the moment of the releases, the IPO of IBIT, and then also the ability to have an optionable entity, derivative, sorry, is what I was looking for, is really important. Why? Because now that can protect your downside. So before we've seen these massive swings, and I heard Sharif mention this yesterday, you'd have those 50% pullbacks. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case anymore because the ability that even the retailer traders have is to hedge their position. And what is the point of hedging? To protect your downside. And that's why we're not seeing those crazy volatility spikes in Bitcoin. So keep your eyes on IBIT's option chain because it can tell you a lot. Bang. Dara, what do you got for us?
Stories worth mentioning here. PayPal on watch PYPL announcing a partnership here for e-commerce with Claude, which is an AI. So keep an eye here on PYPL. Google also on watch here. Bloomberg reporting that the company is going to be unveiling its new Pixel hardware on August 20th. AI is apparently going to be on focus at this event. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara. All right. Do you have anything?
I have nothing positive to say to this individual. So I'm not going to say anything else.
Who is it?
I don't know. Something just kind of irked me right now.
Okay, that's fine. I went a little bit of a rant yesterday. I want to clip that rant too. It was a nice little rant.
That doesn't even make any sense.
You want me to take him out?
You say, no. I want him to stay in here. Yeah, I want him to think about that.
I don't even know who it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, now I see. Okay. All right.
That makes zero sense.
All right, man. All right. Let's just take it easy, guys. All right. I'm in BRNS. Okay, so let's talk about this one. I'm keeping my eye on this one. This is going to have to hold up here. I'm well aware that this one is wiki. I've tried to account for the wickiness. Is that a word, guys? Or its propensity to wick, to become very wiki. Get it, Adara? So. We'll see what this one does. I've put my stop where it is. I always feel like the algos are listening to me.
They are.
Like me and my negligible shares that don't matter a diddly squat. And then here I am like all self-absorbed thinking the algos are listening to me.
All the love in the chat, man.
About me, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, but obviously that, remember Justin on the floor? When we would be talking about stocks, we'd be like, shh.
It's like, guys, they don't care about our little share orders here. No, but seriously, though. So what I'm looking for here is basically a couple of wicks below that volume-weighted average price to hold above the 20. So far, we're getting it. I'm out of the money by 6 pennies. Show me 28 on the level 2. I'm in at 134s. This won't be any more DCAing into this one. It's going to have to start rocketing back up. But I do like the higher low situation. Now, how low it gets, and does it end up stopping me out with a possible higher low? I won't give it to the prior bar trough there, or the prior trough low, which is around 185. I just won't. That's just way too much DCAing and way too much room for me to do that. So we'll see if this one wants to hold up. If it doesn't, we'll have another L on the day, but we'll still be positive. We'll see what this one wants to do, hold up or what. It does feel like it is still selling off. What I'm looking at on my top chart, my top screen there, is the 5-second chart, and this is losing the bid. This is losing it quite aggressively, and I will get stopped out here if it drops below 14. Let's see if it catches a bid. It tried to work back into that 30 penny area. It's not really doing it, so it looks like definitely the sellers are in control here. And yeah, well, we're well below the VWAP now, so I won't be adding into this position. And there we go, we just got stopped out. So we'll give back a little bit there. Now, I want to focus on HUBC, as this BRNS was no good to me. HUBC is taking out that $4 area. So great look there, and it gave me one quick opportunity to get in, and I didn't really take that opportunity at the 20 exponential, and it stair-stepped up. Not very quickly, but slowly, but you ended up getting that nice volume push there from, I think, three mid-80s, and that's where we made the high of the day into 4. So good look there for whoever is looking at HUBC. If you executed on that, good on you. Good look on this one, and I'll certainly be interested to get in if it pulls back in to the 20 exponential moving average. But currently, it's a little bit too highly valued here for me to be punching in at day's high. I'm just looking quickly at the top screen over here to see what my scanner is bringing me in terms of any new small cap gappers. Let's have a look over here. I'm seeing a new one called APM. No, that's one I already have. SDM, Shoppers Drug Mart. I'm kidding, it's not actually Shoppers Drug Mart. This one's super light on volume, but up 41%. YHC is one that we already know about. That's on the side chart there. Let's go ahead and pull up YHC. Over here, that's the one that I was involved in multiple times. Nothing really new showing up on my scanner. There's CUEQ, but that's south of $1. It started out its life at around 70 pennies with a 103 high. CUE is the ticker, but a little bit still light on volume, with this one only having done 2 million shares on the day, even though it's like $1 stock. So that's not exactly a glowing endorsement to go long over here. So I'm going to keep my eye out on that one. Let me just go back to BRNS over here with the 5-second, because it does look like it's catching a bit of a bid. I'm going to keep my eye on this one. Lisberto Calvo, $5 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. How low do you think the SPY could get after the big selling earlier? Thank you again for the show. You guys are awesome. No, you're awesome, my man. Let's have a look at the TA for the SPY.
For sure. Wow, Bitcoin, man.
Is it pumping?
Yeah, I should have.
Well, told you.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
The SPY.
Yeah, it just broke trend now. Yeah.
All right, Neil and Joe are talking there. The SPY. So how low could the SPY go? Well, we got a 618 defend, almost on the dot, my man. Was that in the pre-market? Yeah, that's in the pre-market there. No, that's not in the pre-market. Why isn't this updating? Oh, because I don't have it over here. That's why. I see. This program is a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So 1605 is the low on the day, but as you can see, it's a V-shaped retracement. We make that low, we sell right back up, but we're still kind of flat, right? Because the closing print yesterday on the SPY was around 622 mid-teens. We're at 621.83 right now. So how low? I don't know, man. We're getting some higher highs here now. If we make a high above, I want to say 623, I wouldn't even be looking low anymore. Number one, you'd be positive on the day again. Anything above 62.15 gets us positive. That's number one. Number two, we're holding VWAP from the north side. Number three, if we make that 623 in a third break, well, guess what? Then that's a higher high. So I don't know. I'm not looking low. I'm not looking low right now on the on the market. The ES is flat. The NQ is only down 0.29, and then you have the Dow and the Russell both green. So yeah, we're almost back to break even here on this SPY. So I don't know how you feel, Joey, but I'm not really looking short at the moment.
Well, yeah. Well, what I'm going to do here, Sharif, is I just kind of go back to what I'm comfortable with, and that's going to be talking a little bit of options with you guys. And as you were talking about it there, Sharif, obviously what am I going to do? And this is the beauty of it. It's because it's such a repeatable system, and I hope you guys have the ability to start taking advantage of this. So what is a potential low by the end of the week on SPY? Well, what we would like to call max pain to the downside is going to be your highest levels of open interest on this side, and that's going to be around that $600. We're not going to go to 600. So you want to go to that next level. Or actually, I shouldn't say that. I should not say that we're not going to go there. Anything can happen, right? But what is the option market telling us? 615, there's some size there. That could be a potential low on the week, and then you might get a bounce off of that, all right? So you can see a little bit of options pinning action right here between 615. You have 40,000 here and 53,000 there. Now, we're trading at 621. But why are we continuously holding that 550 level? Or sorry, no, that the 618 level? Well, sure, let's take a look at that here. 620, you have a lot of open interest right there as well too. So just keep an eye on these things. It will tell you a lot, but I would not be surprised if we do have that magnet effect at that 615 strike price just due to the open interest size. And that's quite a bit on the SPY considering that that's a 2-day expiration cycle and it's a $600 name. So just keep that in mind. Utilize the options chain. It can most definitely give you ranges throughout the week. And that's just what I do. I'm still short the TQs. Once it cracks the 40s, I'm going to hop out of this. That means there's going to be an opportunity that I can sit on the backside of this trend and then maybe climb higher. But it is relatively a choppy day, so I have no issues with just starting small. And then you can see on the 5-minute time frame, we're slowly starting to curl over as well. So what can happen is the volume profile is most definitely starting to cool off. So if we run into a resistance zone, hopefully we get those sellers stepping back in that can help us push price lower, and that can lead us to that next level of support, which is going to be around that 83.80 level on the TQs, and then look for that move to the next step, which is around 83.60, and then the low of the day if it comes into play. But we are in a bull market, so be careful. Those buy programs do step in, and this is what you see. Throughout all of April, it was almost like fade the pops. Now, for the past couple of months, considering from Liberation Day lows, it's just buy the dips. So you see how that narrative flips? I didn't mean to rhyme there, but that's just how it is, right? And I think that's something that I most definitely learned considering April and all that tariff talk was most definitely a difficult time for me. But it's because I wasn't gauging the sentiment as well as I possibly could. But it was also a new event for me. So just look at it like that. When you have kind of a sentiment shift in the market, then look for the opposite, or not the opposite, look to shift your trading style in the direction of that sentiment shift. Bearish, bullish, whatever it may be. We're in a bull market. We were previously in a bear market. Now just find out where your good strategy lays there, Sharif.
Shout out to RJ, Sharif, Joe, keep up the great equity analysis. Your work is appreciated. Thank you very much, RJ. And thank you for the $5 Canadian super chat. Shout out to the man, RJ, there in the chat. So yeah, I'm keeping an eye here on game, guys. So a couple of reasons I'm looking at game. One for a possible VWAP bounce, but also another reason is I'm actually quite interested in this one for a flat bottom break here as a short. Now, it'll have to lose VWAP for me to short this small cap gapper. I have the same rule for shorting these ones, which I rarely do, by the way, that I do for going long. I'll short them if they're below VWAP. I'll go long if they're above VWAP. And here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing an area crest at 282. And then I'm seeing a lower high here at 269. All the while, that VWAP line has been just, it's held the line. I mean, figuratively and literally over here. I mean, fantastic look. Every time it dips into VWAP once, twice, OB thrice, it's been money. But every ascent has been a little bit lower than the prior one. So if this one gives up the ghost, I want to say at 240, maybe even 235, I'm going to be looking short. Now, that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is like, hey, what's worked on the day is basically having resting orders at the volume weighted average price. That was absolute money. You got it at 1120, you got it at 1140, and then you got it again here at 1230. And you've had to have resting orders there because it hasn't spent all that much time there. I'm talking about game, guys, up 64% a dare.
Keep an eye on Verizon. I need to provide some context for this story. So if you're unaware, there's been a lot of talk about potentially a pretty large renovation to the air traffic control centers here in the U.S. That, of course, will be done by the FAA, or the Federal Aviation Authority, which is currently, just certainly something to keep an eye on here. So basically, the FAA apparently has confirmed, according to one reporter here on X, that they are not replacing Verizon's $2.4 billion Federal Aviation Administration Enterprise Network Services contract. So VZ seems like its contract is good to go, at least according to this report, even as we have some renovations. I guess this was a bit up in the air. There were some talks that it was maybe going to be replaced by a Starlink contract. Apparently, so far, that's not the case. Back to you.
So we got the OG here. You hear about Ford?
Ford.
You didn't hear? No. Almost 700. I was about to say 690 something. Almost 700,000 cars. Fuel leak on the Escape and on the Bronco of all cars. And I happen to love the Bronco, dude. I like the Bronco.
I like the Bronco.
You know why I like the Bronco? Convertible, SUV.
Yeah. Dang.
Both of my worlds,
Yeah.
right there in one car.
Yeah.
So that's a problem, obviously. It's leaking and it causes a fire. So 700,000 cars, and that's not going to be a cheap fix. I don't know what that's going to cost. Yeah, it's a bit of a tough look there, obviously. So.
I don't think I should say.
Yeah, I know how you feel.
No,
I know
what you did, Fabian.
What happened?
I know what you did.
What?
He knows
I know what you did last summer?
I know he knows what I'm
Shout out
talking
to Neff
about.
Campbell.
Too.
What?
This guy.
So let's bring in the OG Randy, if we can. I don't know if they can do. Can you guys do the Looney Tunes thing with Randy's head like in the middle right there? We used to be able to do the Katina Man like that. He was always weaseling in with his head in the circle there. Shout out to oh, there he is. Oh wow, that's fantastic. Shout out to the production team.
That's
so
fancy.
Randy, tell us unfiltered opinion. Where does Ford go from here?
Oh, I guess we have 10 minutes. I mean, like Ford's been building cars for over 100 years, okay? And every time there's a recall, it has three immediate effects. Number one, they've got to pay out to get the problems fixed.
Exactly.
Number two, they probably have to alter production and or supply chain in order to fix the faulty problem, which slows down production. Number three, shareholders and owners of these vehicles are going, huh? You know, like, come on. This
They're
guy's
freaking
been
out.
building cars long enough. This should not happen. I get new models come out, but you guys have learned how to build fuel tanks and brake pedals and all this stuff a long, long time ago.
Randy, I was watching a pod, and our friend, CEO, his name is Jim Farley, right? Mm-hmm. The way he was talking about Chinese electric vehicles, it's like he revered them, Randy.
Yes.
You should see how he was talking about them. From like, not from a position of superiority. It didn't come off like that at all. It felt almost as if he was talking about a different level that the Chinese were operating at and that he aspires to be.
He's got
It's
a point.
sad to say.
Yeah, I did recall that article from a week or two ago. Listen, they're building problematic vehicles. People could die. Like this is not a, and this is not an isolated case. The recalls are out of control. And like I said, it costs the company a whole boatload of money to fix problems. And you'd think they would know better on how to build a product that's, don't get me wrong, every car company, has put faulty parts on the road. It happens. There's thousands upon thousands of parts in every rolling vehicle out there. Motorcycles, doesn't matter what it is. But you go through the steps and the exercises to prevent that in pre-production, in prototyping, in launching, and with your supply chain before it rolls to dealerships. And this is just, it's indicative of, I think, their stock over the last, I don't know, you can pull up the chart. Go back 5 years. Has it moved a whole lot? Not really.
Right
no. I mean, Ford's historical chart has probably not deviated north or south of $20
Assassino.
in quite a while. It's flat. And yes, there's a dividend and all the rest of it. But honestly, I don't see progress here.
Fantastic.
I don't. And
This is the weekly, Randy, we're showing right now on Ford, just so everybody follows along.
Go back a year.
Yeah. Okay, guys, over here, This is 2009. This is 2010 right here. We are lower than where we were trading in 2010. This is dead money. Do they give a dividend? Do they pay a dividend?
They do, I believe it. You know what?
All right,
it's indicative of a larger problem. I mean, the company has a lot of pedigree, but there's a lot of systemic issues here. And when you keep putting products on the market that are constantly recalled, how much faith do you have, number one, as an investor? Number two, as an owner? So if you want to go buy your Bronco, go ahead. But I mean, if it's at the dealer for recalls or, you know, you can't drive it or you're unhappy or unsafe owning it, I'll pass.
The only thing that I feel like they do really well and they outclass some of the competition, especially at least the Chinese so far, are their pickups. The pickups are good. People love Ford F-150. It seems to, you know.
It's the best selling singular model platform next to the Volkswagen Beetle in automotive history. So give them credit.
Wow.
But it's a one-trick pony.
That's a statement.
It's a one-trick pony because the F-150 in the large pickup market is largely a North American phenomenon.
Exactly.
They have small pickups in South America and Middle East and elsewhere in Europe, but it's largely a North American item.
The full-size ones we're talking about, right? Like the
full size,
yeah.
you know, half-ton, three-quarter ton, one-ton, dually, you know, ton-and-a-half pickups. Beyond our shores, you don't see them that often. Like you know, how many do you see on the streets of London, England, or Paris, France? You don't.
No, they don't fit in the European streets, man. I mean, like,
well, and they have vans over there, and they prefer, you know. So give them credit for that. But even the F-150 has been subject to I don't know how many recalls over the years, and I just have doubts about
you and I both,
their
man.
long-term future, and you know the Chinese EV manufacturers who are, by the way, also producing ICE cars. They're producing hybrids that are getting amazing range and fuel economy. And yes, there's recalls, and yes, they're learning. But they haven't been building cars for 100 years. Ford has. So again, I have my doubts. There's work to do. That's all I got to say.
Fair enough.
Randy's spoken.
Yeah, there it is.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you. Lots of work to
Look,
do.
it's. I want to bring this up, but Randy was weaseling. I appreciate you, brother, always coming in and giving
Randy.
us wisdom. You forgot your professional 1,000 semi-gloss oil base.
Don't sniff it.
We're doing a full what's it called? Oh, I saw you building this desk outside. I promise you this won't happen again. And you know how I'll promise you that? I'll have a keyboard kind of mat there so that it won't be available to me, Randy. Only for you, baby.
All right, only for Randy.
So Adara talked about Verizon before Randy weaseled in, and I wanted to bring up a point to you. Did you see what Rogers is doing?
What is Rogers doing?
Rogers, just so everybody understands, it's kind of like the Verizon of Canada, so to speak. It's one of the bigger cell phone providers, cable, internet, the whole works.
Second largest, yeah.
Satellite text messaging.
Oh, yeah?
Open to everybody.
No
You're on
way.
Bell, you're on TELUS. That was, to me, to me, an existential threat for these telecom companies, because that's the next move. They're not going to be schlepping to every building and every farm owner to put in cell towers and have to go through AMAT. AMAT's a cell tower REIT, by the way. Think about American Tower. Think about this. You're going to have your satellite in space is going to do all basically the telecom, and that's where your friend Elon is going with that. I think he struck a deal, in fact, with T-Mobile for exactly that. And I like to see that Canada's not falling behind in that regard. Not definitely Starlink-esque, but nice to see that they're working into that.
It's a good start. Yeah, I think that's really important. I remember I was working on a lot of the fiber optics. So when we were switching, a lot of the, suburban households were switching from a copper line to a fiber optic line. So there's a lot of infrastructure work being done with that. But even still, downtown Toronto is still heavily copper.
Really?
Yeah, because so much of the major
slower internet then.
Well, not necessarily, a little bit, right?
Okay.
But not necessarily, because it has more power, right? And a lot of it has power, like extreme power, just the amount of copper inside of it. It can transport pretty quick, obviously.
Interesting. Okay.
But the fiber optic was more difficult to place into the city just due to how large the networking scale was
and
in the
old.
city. So
City's
very
old, bro.
Very old. And it was easier to do it in the suburban areas, switch from copper to fiber optic.
I bet.
Because it wasn't as...
Yeah, and like they planned for all that expansion in the suburbs, right? Like we're talking about burbs that were built in the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yep.
Like they probably accounted for that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Whereas, when we were riding horses, which is when Toronto was built. We weren't accounting for all that stuff. Guys, I want to talk about game because I did point this out. It's a flat bottom break that just did manifest, that lost VWAP. It's below it right now. It's losing the bid. It's a pay for shorts type situation right now on game for real trading. So I didn't bother looking over to Neil because I knew by the time we would have the, I'd get my shorts, the trade kind of would probably be behind me at the moment. So what I'm going to be looking for now is a retracement, possibly back into the volume weighted average price. And if it does that, then we'll look to short. But if it continues to just go down, I don't have a play on it right now. So GAME held VWAP 3 times, and then it lost it on the 4th. So the 3rd time was a charm, but the 4th was not. Now, that's the short in the small cap gapper world. Have a look at the long. YHC is breaking out. It's knocking on the door of 100% day. Wowzers, this makes my trade look like absolute crap. And this one was a really good one for me, okay? This one is breaking out right now. It's been insanely respectful of the 10 EMA. It's at the day's high right now, 788. It's going to take it out. Run for your life, whoever's selling at 88. Run. 790 high, $8 high. Wow. YHC is breaking out, baby. Run for your life, shorts. Man, I love these people that short the small cap gappers at the high. Y'all are brave, man. 820 high now, Joseph. 825 high. All right, I got my auctioneer voice on here, guys. This is breaking out, but be careful with these ones. And hey, you want to try something? Try looking at the 5 to see where the areas of the support and resistance are and where the micro pullbacks are. So be on the lookout right now. YHC is breaking out. Good looking chart.
Yep,
Joseph.
absolutely, guys. All right, so this TQ short isn't looking too good, even though we still have this downtrend intact. I just don't like the way the price is reacting, all right? So you can see that we had this move down, and then now we have a massive engulfing candle to the top side on the 3-minute. So yeah, we couldn't break VWAP, not a positive sign, and there you can see the momentum and the volatility most definitely starting to pick up here. So I don't mind taking a small loss on this, but I don't want to dig into too many of my profits. But I am going to hop in along here on IBIT using this as my low. I love it when you're just instantly in the money. I'm substantially larger in size on the IBIT trade than I am on this Q's trade. Frustrating, but it is what it is. We don't want to get too upset and let it get to us too much. But there it is, IBIT off of the lows, and then now let's see if we can crack this downtrend line to see, obviously sit on the backside of it and then climb back towards the high of the day. That's going to be the primary target. I am going to hop out of this TQs here momentarily because my stop is at 45s. I gave it a little bit of room, but smaller size there, Shreve.
Big news for Vietnam's green mobility shift and a major win for Vinfast. Ticker VFS trades on the Nasdaq. Starting July 1st in 2026, Hanoi will ban gas-powered motorcycles in its city center, kicking off a nationwide move towards electric transport. Vinfast is in prime position to benefit, guys, with major investments in EV tech, battery production, and charging networks. It has a strong head start over the competition. While others scramble, Vinfast is ready, baby, and this policy only sharpens its edge. Shout out to the great folks there at Vinfast, and let's call another spade a spade. Elon ain't gonna make motorcycles. He's made it very, very clear.
Really
oh yeah, I think his brother. I'm not 100% sure, but he said he's not gonna make any motorcycles. Something like that. Yeah.
I mean, that would be a hot product if he came out with like a little Vespa style.
They asked him, like, unless he changes his mind. A guy came out, I think, in one of the question and answer things that he was doing, and then he just point blank said, "We're not making motorcycles."
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it'd be nice to see, a mass-produced.
I'm out. I'm out of. It would be nice to see a Tesla motorcycle. I'm out of this. I'm out of this TQs trade. Took a loss on this one. I'm gonna add to this IBIT. Oh no.
No.
Okay, so IBIT's working out for us. AC Slater to that one. We're not going to try to short this market. It's extremely choppy, but what I do have some confidence in, Shreve, that is going to be Bitcoin as we're slowly climbing higher. I do think that we can break through this resistance zone. With that being said, we're going to double it up right here just because why not? Shout out to why not in the chat. I want to see this work. I will note, though, it's like, okay, yeah, I hopped out of the TQs trade, But look at the volume, super, super cool, right? So maybe this could be just somewhat of a liquidity grab before it heads a little bit lower. But yeah, the way I seen that engulfing candle and the way we were moving back up in price, I'm like, yeah, I don't want too much smoke, so I'll just hop out of that. And thank you for the individual who said, yeah, Joe, get out. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to hold on to this and dig too much deeper into the profits that I locked in today. So this will be, if this doesn't work out, then I'll be super cool. And just because I don't want to give away too much, obviously. And I think that's a big name of the game, right? So you just got to give yourself a fixed amount. You have a solid profitable session. It's like, okay, yeah, you make X amount. I'm going to risk 20% more of that. And then whether it works out or it doesn't, see you later, all right? So RGTI was my #1 pick on the day. And did I trade it? No, which is unfortunate, but here it is. We'll break it down to the 1 minute. I was waiting for more of a pullback through the volume weighted average price right here, guys, and then a move higher, but you can see the pullback. It holds VWAP to a T. It did fail to construct a new high of the day on this move, but it just needed to absorb some more liquidity, bounces off of this support level right here that was acting as resistance prior, and then now just a steady uptrend to the top side. RGTI looking really, really good. And they had a catalyst here I'm going to pull up momentarily, which was slightly interesting. It was somewhat of a breakthrough, I believe, for RGTI, but I want to bring it to you guys and actually get the facts straight on this. So let me pull it up. It's going to only take a couple of moments, but let's go Bitcoin, break that trend line, and then we're going to be really, really singing here today, guys. So RGTI, Rigetti Computing Inc. achieved a median 2-qubit gate fidelity of 99.5% on its new 36-qubit system, having the error rate from its previous 84-qubit chip, boosting shares by 8%. So that is, I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea what that means, but the street likes it.
Yeah.
And if the street likes it, then I'm going to be looking to base trades off of it. So that was the catalyst for RGTI, and you can see that reflected in the price. Let's zoom out and see what we got going on from a daily. And this is a big time breakout here, guys. Look at this, through 15.5, and then now you're steady climbing higher. That's a massive engulfing candle. I would be looking for that volume to be supporting it, and then a retest of the breakout level, and then who knows, you can possibly go and test this previous high, all-time high right there, Sharif.
All right, guys, keeping my eye on YHC, still zigging and zagging there at the highs. I don't know, man. There's a couple of HUBCs running, YHC's game as well, coming back in now, as we talked about, to test that volume weighted average price at around 238, 240. I'm interested, but I just don't have any A setups right now that I really am looking to jump into. So I'm going to steer clear until YHC sets up possibly at around 7.5. That's where the 10 EMA is. That's, predicated upon it losing $8. So that's what I'll keep my eye on now. But for the moment, I'm going to take a pause from trading. I'm not liking anything that I'm seeing currently right now. But what we can do is we can smash the news, because there's a lot happening today. So let's get right to it with banks earnings as well. Excuse me. Let's start off with this though. Good. You have anything?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead,
Bitcoin's working out here, guys. So we're going to continue to hold on this. All we need is the volume to start stepping in. I love it when I point out the screen. But the volume right here, guys, if that picks up, I think we can break through this 67.90 level and then maybe go and test the high of the day. So that is that game plan. And I'm glad I got it out of the TQs.
All right. So it's crypto week. So let's talk a little crypto. Who's calling me here from Ajax?
Who's calling my phone?
Get out of here. All right. So a group of 13 House Republicans, I think it's the Freedom Caucus, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, initially blocked key crypto legislation yesterday, voting 223 to 196 against the debate rules. It was debate rules here that were in question for the actual legislation. By evening, Trump announced on his Truth social media platform that 11 of the 12 holdouts, I thought it was 13, what the hell kind of cockamamie numbers are these? Anyway, 11 of the 12 holdouts had reversed.
I just want to mention, I thought the exact same thing. Trump's post does say 11 out of 12, so there's no issue with the notes. It's just that Trump's number is weirdly off from the actual number of holdouts. The actual number of holdouts was 13. Trump said there were 12, so it's unclear who this mystery holdout is.
Very good point. Thank you for clarifying that, Derek. That did make mathematical sense. Speaker Mike Johnson reportedly also joined the call and supported moving forward with the vote as early as possible. The point I just skipped there was 11 of the 12 holdouts had reversed course after meeting with Trump in the White House. We'll have to see when they get passed. Speaker Mike Johnson says he's going to try to get it back on the floor as early as possible. What that means remains to be seen. To be discussed on the House during crypto week, 3 key pieces. I want to say 2 key pieces of legislation, but 3 key issues. First, Genius Act that regulates stablecoin. One of the reasons Circle's been going crazy and went crazy after the IPO. This one, the Genius Act, that is already passed the Senate. It has to be passed in the House in the same with the same version that was passed in the Senate. Otherwise, it has to go back to the Senate with the amendments to be passed there. So we'll have to see whether or not it can be passed in its current form. In addition to that, the Clarity Act. Tim Scott, one of the writers, or the I forget what the word is there that issues the legislation, one of the sponsors of the legislation. This Clarity Act defines, whether a digital asset will fall under the umbrella or the purview of the Securities and Exchange Commission, or whether it gets categorized as a commodity, in which case it would be governed by a different regulatory body, the CFTC, which is a commodity jurisdiction regulator. Lastly here, not an independent piece of legislation, but very important to a lot of these Republicans in the House that want to vote for it. They want a CBDC ban, which would prohibit the Federal Reserve from launching a central bank digital currency. They don't want that. And to be quite honest with you, could be a competitor to Bitcoin. So we'll have to wait and see. Critics like Marjorie Taylor Greene, as I mentioned earlier, she said that she was going to oppose the Genius Act if it didn't include the CBDC ban. I'm assuming other Republicans, I could be wrong, probably echoing her sentiment. And when we got the stalled House vote there on these issues, Circle dropped aggressively 7%. Coinbase also dropped 4%, and Mara slipped about 4%. Let's see where they're at right now, with obviously Bitcoin moving up nicely on the day. We got Coin up 2.59%. I don't even have Circle there in my stable coin. I should, or in my what's it called? Crypto watch list. So Circle's up big today, 14.15%. So recovering nicely, basically all that it lost yesterday. If it loses 7%, then it's got to gain 14% to make that up, right? Trump declared the legislation part of Crypto Week, promoting the bills as vital to U.S. dominance in digital assets. And he's touting the Genius Act as possibly a propellant to keep the U.S., according to him, light years ahead of China, Europe, and all the others. So we'll have to wait and see whether this gets passage in the House, Joseph, but a good look nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at Ether. All right, the Ethereum. This thing has been absolutely going parabolic. Fantastic stuff as always, Sharif. Obviously, we've seen how the likes of Circle, Robinhood, and Coin benefit from this, the Genius Act. Big time moves. Really, really good stuff as you see of these larger companies starting to adopt these things and create their own. But Ethereum just on this monster run here, Sharif, from 24.03 all the way up to around $25. So a really good look here. And Bitcoin's not participating right now. It doesn't want to climb higher, but Ethereum.
8.3, my God.
Yeah, Ethereum is putting in an absolute monster session. Thank you for the individuals pointing that out. And sorry to kind of change the subject. Rigetti is not stopping. It's just continuing to climb higher. So I like this for a signal of strength, and then maybe we can get a continuation tomorrow. But Bitcoin slightly lagging and not looking too good just now yet, guys.
And we know that your friend, very good friend of ours, good friend of the show, he's on a lot, Jensen Huang in China, looking to, no, I'm kidding. Look, obviously, to sell his products. I love it. So he delivered remarks yesterday, guys, at a major supply chain expo out in Beijing. He praised these Chinese AI firms like your DeepSeeks, your Alibabas, your Tencent, your Minimax, your Baidus. He emphasized that there's 1.5 million Chinese developers building on NVIDIA's CUDA platform, and he wants to take advantage of that, obviously. His comments come a day after NVIDIA said it would resume shipments of its China-specific H20 chip back to China following U.S. government assurances that licenses would be granted for the exports. And if you recall, NVIDIA had halted the H20 chips back in April as a result of these export controls. He did confirm that the U.S. now has approved the licenses for export and deliveries will restart shortly. If you'll recall as well, there had been substantial hits taken by NVIDIA to the tune of $2.5 billion in lost sales for Q2 and an $8 billion impact for Q3, with Q3 revenue pegged at around $45 billion. Add to that what would have been realized, according to the company, $8 billion, you're in over $50 billion in revenue there on the quarter. He did contrast China's open source push with the closed model we're seeing more and more of in the United States. Case in point, OpenAI. Funny how like they're called their OpenAI, but they're very much closed source. He highlighted Moonshot's Kimi, which I hadn't heard of, but I think Neil had, K2 model as an example of Chinese breakthroughs in code generation. To be fair, though, to the American developers, we know Llama wants to really kind of champion or spearhead that open source push for American AI development. But to also be fair, Llama is open source with an asterisk because you can't use too much of it. They they limit how many tokens I think you can actually use on Llama 4. So it is technically open source, but to only to a limit. Anything on this one, Joseph?
No, I just to talk a little bit about Bitcoin here.
Yep.
We'll touch back on there momentarily, but I took some off right here, guys, and then that momentum, as you can see, we broke through that resistance zone, and this is not the reaction that I was looking for right here, is that flush to the downside. So I was entered here, doubled up the size, and then we eventually took some off right there, but then that flush down just got me out. It is what it is. We got out of that trade, so I wouldn't be surprised if it sells a little bit more, and now that I'm looking at it, thankful I took the littlest bit off. Maybe I should have took about 50% off up here at the breakthrough this resistance zone, but I was looking for the continuation in strength. I will note, look at the imbalance on the book, right? Look at that, there's a substantial imbalance, and the immediate bids are substantially larger than what we're seeing on the immediate ask. So just keep that in mind, guys, and that's why you use quote highlights. And when I was watching this name, you can see those consecutive flushes, like boom, at the ask. So aggressive sellers, and the stock and the ETF isn't reactive whatsoever. So that can be a possible sign of weakness from my observation.
Your friends at Meta, your boy Zuck, poaching more talent from OpenAI.
Yeah.
I got a surprise. This time, Joseph, he recruited. Let's use that. Recruited 2 high-profile researchers, both from OpenAI. First individual here, Jason Wei, and the other individual, Haiyong Wan Chung, for its ambitious super intelligence lab. Both these guys were key contributors to OpenAI's flagship model teams and had actually previously worked together, both at Google's DeepMind, focusing guys on deep reasoning and chain of thought techniques. That's one thing I haven't heard about yet. I got to do more research on chain of thought techniques. Have no idea what that is. Wei, for his part here, specialized in reinforcement learning, and Chung helped build OpenAI's O1 model with strengths specifically, guys, in agent and reasoning. Just keeping an eye here on YHC. Their move comes as Meta ramps up efforts to build advanced AI systems using reward-based feedback loops. I need to do more research into that. Chain of thought and reward-based feedback loops. Need to understand more about those. Meta is reportedly offering compensation packages of $300 million over 4 years to lure top AI talent. I want to get your input in a second.
Yeah.
Meta also acquired, Play AI, which is a startup specializing in natural sounding voice tech. The team will join Meta's AI division under John. I can't say this guy's last name. He's a former head of voice AI from Sesame AI. Now I want to mention something to you. So when you were a founder, in like VC world and tech world, if you're a founder, your one way to get out was basically an acquisition. Mm-hmm. So you create a technology and then another company comes and buys you out entirely. That's no longer the only avenue anymore. There was no avenue for these founders to make the same kind of money as employees that they would have made had they been bought out and obviously realized on a lot of the shares that they own in the company. That's no longer the case.
Yeah.
These guys are getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars, and their exit strategy now overlaps.
Yeah.
And so what Google did with this other company that they acquired, they hired their top 100 people, got a license for that company's technology, and then left 200-300 people in the company with no specific, thing that they can protect, because Google's got a license to use their technology, and then they took their best people. So they take all their tech people, and then the sales people and the administrative people are left in a shell company.
Yep.
This is insane.
Yeah.
Like the kind of aggressiveness that's happening.
Well,
right now.
this is what I was saying to you before, Sharif. The ball is in the developer's court at the end of the day, right?
Bang.
Like you can see Alexander Wang, this guy just caught $100 million or something along those lines.
Crazy.
Zuck is looking to distribute up to $300 million just to acquire the top-end talent. And that's what I was referring to earlier. The ball is most definitely in the developer's court.
Bang on,
because
bro.
they can choose who they want to go work with. We know that Apple was in talks with Anthropic and Perplexity. What happened to that one? Both of them dropped out. And then sure enough, Zuckerberg's starting to acquire some of the talent there. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough look. It's a tough look right now. Look, it's not tough if you're one of these people who's being offered hundreds of millions of dollars. But yeah, it's definitely making.
Well, I don't think it'd be that tough, Sharif, to be honest with you. You give me $100 million.
No, I'm saying for them it's fine. No, for other people who want to kind of
obviously,
stay in the company,
right?
and yeah, it kind of creates a bit of a weird situation there. Let's go on to ASML. Much to my chagrin, ASML did not see themselves growing into 2026, and that's why we're selling off. Let's go through this report step by step. They reported Q2 net sales of 7.7 billion euros. That easily beats the street's expectations of 7.52. Net profit, very healthy, 2.29 billion euros. That's take-home money. That easily beat the consensus estimate of 2.04 billion euros. Bookings as well over $1 billion in excess of what was expected. 5.5 billion euros in bookings.
Bro.
Just get the chopsticks already. Versus the 4.19 the street was expecting. So a decided beat there at 1.3 billion euro beat. Really driven by AI and machine upgrades. Despite all that, despite the beat on the top and bottom line, the shares fell decidedly. It's SSR, it's down 8 3/4 on weak forward guidance. So let's get to that forward guidance that sent this thing down big. Q3 revenue, now the guide there, they're guiding 7.4 to 7.9 billion euros. That misses right away off even the top end of the range. That misses the 8.3 billion euros the street was looking for. Now, with their full year 2025 sales growth forecast, they trimmed that down to 15, which implies 15% growth, that is, which implies about 32.5 billion euros, which is kind of at the midpoint between the 30 to 35 they had guided. So the market didn't like that either, and it got sold off. Management cited continued uncertainty around both tariffs and the macro geopolitical risks that are taking place right now as a reason for that. The CEO confirmed, though, strong fundamentals from AI customers, which, according to the CEO, remain a key driver for their growth. The CFO highlighted that AI-related chip demand is a major tailwind for the EUV machines, extreme ultraviolet lithography machines. The AI-fueled demand is helping ASML offset some of the drag they're experiencing from the global and the macro regulatory headwinds. And just to understand here, U.S. trade policies and chip export restrictions remain the key risk for ASML's global sales, right? Despite strong AI demand, they could not confirm that they will continue their growth in 2026. That is not what an investor wants to hear, but I don't know if I've got my investor goggles on here. I kind of feel like they're maybe kind of guiding down to kind of set lower expectations because they easily beat on the top and bottom line, but that doesn't mean that they will in the future. Joseph, any comment?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's take a look at ASML from a technical standpoint.
Let's go.
I know you did some nice work in there yesterday, Sharif. So really, really nice stuff there. And that's what we're talking about. It's just swing trading, right? You got to lock in those profits, and you want to leave some from a runner. So really nice work on that front. But here it is, right? So you get that gap down here on the daily, but that's right into some key support levels as well, too, Sharif. 725 is a big-time level candle right there. And if you have this hammer candle being printed, just be cautious on what can potentially happen. You may get a potential bounce, and then you can get that gap fill here. You made a good point. Sell some into the earnings report, right? Just in case it does tank. But what does that leave you with? The cash on the side to grab some more if you really like the stock at the lows. And I think that's a pretty good opportunity. And the risk profile is relatively defined. You crack through the support level, I would suspect that you're going to take an additional leg lower. If not, you hold, you get this gap fill play, and then best case scenario, you break through this $800 level, and then you're off to the races from there.
Well said, man. Well said. We'll have to see how this one ends up doing, but we'll see what ASML has to offer right now. Let's talk about Bank of America offering no reason whatsoever why they took Amazon off their U.S. #1 list despite strong ratings. So Bank of America Securities removed Amazon as well as FICO, Fair Isaac Corp, from its U.S. #1 list. Both stocks retained buy ratings, ironically, but no longer appear on B of A's top investment ideas. Just so you understand, the U.S. #1 list is Bank of America's highest conviction buy-rated U.S. stocks and ADRs, not just U.S. stocks, aimed at long-term outperformance. Again, no specific reason was disclosed from the removal of or in B of A's research note there. So Amazon down 1 1/3 on the day, along with Meta 1%, softy, flat, everything else kind of upkick. So I'm not going to give you any opportunity because we don't even know what they took it off. Unless you have something to say about Amazon in general.
Well, I was going to say something about the Bank of America.
Go for it, yeah.
So they actually beat on net interest income, where JPM had a slight miss, and the other banks from yesterday had a slight miss on net interest income. So that could be a positive sign here in BAC. Let's pull it up from a technical standpoint to see what we got going on. Okay, it is trading lower, but I do like that net interest income beat, considering the biggest bank on the planet didn't beat
100%. 100%. And I think JPM actually missed on net interest income as well yesterday.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. So they beat. That's why the BAC beat, and then JPM had a slight miss. I think it was like 2.3 billion it came in at. The street was looking for 2.6, something roughly around there.
All right, let's talk about Bank of America earnings. Now that they've removed Amazon from their #1 list, let's see how they did. EPS easily beating the street's consensus there, 89 pennies. The street was looking for 86. Revenue total 26.61 billion. That came in slightly below the expectations there of 26.72. So not a bad miss there, but about $100 million. Despite all that, despite missing the street estimate, it was up 4% year over year. I'm talking about the revenue. Net profit rose 3% year over year, up to 7.12 billion, driven mostly by strong loan and deposit activity. Net interest income came in at 14.82 billion, but didn't really miss estimates all that much. A good look for them, Joey. Let's keep going on here. So, by the way, net interest income for Bank of America grew 7% year over year as loan and deposit growth continued for the 4th straight quarter. CEO Brian Moynihan really highlighted the resilient consumer spending and improved credit quality, which is something that we were concerned about, right? We keep hearing about the consumer maybe getting tapped out, spending less, credit card delinquencies, low car loan repayments increasing. That's not what he's seeing. And you'd think you'd see it in the retail banks first. Also, commercial borrowing utilization was a positive sign. It increased, signaling a rebound in business lending appetite. You want to see that for the overall growth of the economy. Let's talk about how their different divisions did, though, Joey. Fixed income trading revenue reached 3.25 billion, easily topping expectations of 3.14. Equities trading, though, this was interesting to me because most of the other banks made money on trading. They came in a little light. 2.13, just under estimates there, 2.13 billion that is. And then investment banking fees, Joey, fell 9% year over year, down to 1.4%. It still beat for whatever reason. The downbeat expectations of 1.27, but that's not a figure you want to see. Almost double digits there, man.
Yeah, no, I stand corrected. You were right there. So it was a slight miss, but it was the 7.2% year over year growth that came
that's
in.
A good look,
I stand corrected, but that's how it came in there.
All right, let's go on to Goldman. So it's bank season, obviously, as they kick off earnings. Their Q2 profit rose, man, ahead healthy 22% year over year. Their take-home money, guys, $3.72 billion, or about $10.91 a share EPS, easily beating the $9.69 expected by the street by over $1 a share EPS beat there. That's big. Revenue climbed also 15% year over year, $14.58 billion in revenue they brought home, well above the $13.58, so a $1 billion beat on the top line. Trading revenue surged 22% year over year, really helping offset early quarter softness in deal making. We're going to get to that deal making in a second. Increased client activity around Trump's tariff-driven market volatility did boost trading desks. Clients also took the opportunity for that volatility to reposition their portfolios, as well as the macroeconomic risks, giving banks like Goldman, JP, and Citi a bit of a revenue map as they generate fees from that repositioning. And Goldman's investment banking revenue, this is what caught my attention, because this is what we want to see. 26% year-over-year bump, obviously led by stronger advisory fee generation. While the deal count did drop, their deal making 12% year over year. Look at the deal value. Deal value rose 27% year over year. And the deals that are larger than $500 million are seeing way more activity, especially from the tech and the financial sectors. Deal making momentum is supposed to continue into Q3, aided by obviously political volatility and sector consolidation. And private equity firms, man, they face pressure to exit investments, driving deal volume and premium pricing. Joey, that's what we want to see, because we haven't seen that IPO. Well, we've seen good IPO this year, but we want to see a little bit more there.
We want to see more of those.
Historically low publicly traded companies, historically low.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. No, as you mentioned, Sharif, really good pointing out that the global banking and market has been up to $10.12 billion in revenue. That's 24% year over year. And then the asset and wealth management, $3.78 billion, slightly down year over year, but the management fees, $2.81 billion. That's 11% up 11% year over year. So there you go. The management fees, they're starting to rake in a little bit more.
Adara, weasel in.
I think it's no, it's canceled.
Hi.
No weasel? I was going to ask what.
Oh, yeah, no, so there was something, but I think the post has been deleted from X, so I want to wait until it's confirmed to say anything.
All right, let's go on to Johnson & Johnson over here. They also reported earnings as well. Let's talk about their Q2. Beat expectations both on the top and bottom line. With respect to revenue, they printed $23.7 billion. That's a 6% year-over-year growth, and EPS was $2.82 Adara, which beat the street's expectations.
Sorry about the delay there, guys. I wanted to make sure that the news is accurate because the first post I saw about it was subsequently deleted, but it's been reposted. So apparently, according to Jake Sherman, who is a Punchbowl founder and a reporter for Punchbowl and NBC, apparently reporting on X here that the motion to consider the crypto rule has now passed after a very long vote. So these crypto bills have cleared a procedural hurdle in the House. Coinbase still really strong here, just pushing. Circle rallied and then kind of popped back into this 227 level. It's a bit unclear, but strong uptrend on both of these. Let's see what happens next. Back to you.
I love it. Thank you for bringing that out of Dara. That's good news. Let's keep going over here. The company raised, I'm talking about Johnson & Johnson, they raised their full year 2025 guidance. They're now expecting an eye-watering $91.3 billion in sales for the year and $10.63 in EPS. That's up from a prior guide of about 91 to 91.8. So it's a little bit higher than the midpoint with 1050 to 1070 there for EPS. Management did cite favorable Forex conditions and strong operational execution as some of the key drivers. Their innovation medicine brought in, so they have different segments. Their innovation medicine brought in $15.2 billion in revenue, and it's growing at about 5% CAGR, beating estimates by $840 million. So almost $1 billion beat there. There's a bunch of drugs that they have in the pipeline. I'm not going to try and say them. You want to screenshot it or pause it or whatever and have a look there for yourself. Have at it. I'm not going to bother. I don't at work, and I won't hear it either. MedTech, a different segment for them, delivered $8.5 billion in revenue, compared that to the $15.2 for their innovative medicine. So MedTech, about half, a little bit less than half, or more, a little bit less than half of their revenue there. That was up 7% year over year. Cardiovascular devices grew 22%. Orthopedics flat at 2.31 billion. And the sentiment here in the analyst take on Johnson & Johnson is kind of, yeah, their diversification and steady growth could make it a resilient amid macro headwinds. Also, they could possibly have tailwinds in the second half of 2025 from different product launches, as well as reduced pricing pressure and fewer policy disruptions. I don't know about that, because Donald's already pounding the table on biotech tariffs, pharmaceutical tariffs. Now, he's made it clear to these pharmaceutical companies that the tariffs will come incrementally. They're not going to just be 200% from day one. He will give them an opportunity to kind of get ready. But you gotta just admit, man. I mean, or not admit, but you gotta be, I think, reasonable in this case to think that some of the costs there are going to get passed off to the consumer in the form of higher drug prices, unless J&J is going to eat the margins, and I don't think they will. So
yeah.
that's any comment on J&J, Joey?
Yeah, you can see that we punched through some key resistance zones here from a technical standpoint on Johnson & Johnson. So that's a big time move here, guys, and a massive engulfing candle right here, just engulfing this entire range. So that's a positive look. But this is what you want to see, right? So you have these definitive resistance zones, and then you punch through it on the earnings report. That could give you a good signal that you're going to continue there in strength. So there it is on J&J. I've done 2 horrible trades here on IBIT. I'm not proud of them. They are extremely chases, and I would not recommend doing this whatsoever. This is not good trading. Yeah, don't chase those volatility spikes to the top side as you break through key resistance zones. So yeah, that's I just gave away all the profits that I made from here on this silly little trade. I'm in it once again to see if we can break it, but if it breaks through this level and the support level doesn't hold at 67.90, sorry, then I'm just gonna hop out and unfortunately have to give back a little bit of profit. But we'll stay green on the day.
Yeah, and CJ, bringing up a good point. Post baby powder beef, obviously talcum powder was a bit of an issue. They did have a class action lawsuit. It did cause cancer for a lot of people, and that was certainly a headwind for them. But I believe that has since been settled with I think claimants being paid out. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, about that, but I'm pretty sure that is behind them now. I could be wrong, but my understanding is that it has. Let's talk a little Wells Fargo, looking quite bullish here on AMD ahead of earnings. So Wells Fargo's analyst Aaron Rakers reiterated the firm's overweight rating on AMD, but did boost that price target a healthy amount, guys, from 120 to 185, suggesting a 20% upside from where we closed out yesterday. The growth is expected to be driven by the ramp up of the MI355X, your baby there, for data center GPUs, because you've been talking about that a lot, which actually began shipping, Joey, last month. Rakers forecast year-over-year GPU growth acceleration into the second half of 2025, really citing stronger positioning in AI infrastructure. So it looks like he's jumping on board the AMD train here, which has been strong lately. AMD is also anticipated to showcase progress in its 5th gen EPYC Turin CPUs and continued momentum in the Zen 4-based Genoa and Bergamo chips. Analysts expect AMD to remain a share gainer in server CPUs, citing strong product execution and rising enterprise adoption. So it's a good look, guys. AMD, guys, is up 76% in 3 months. Yeah. 76% in 3 months. And 31% over the last 6 months, which gives you an idea that it was selling off in the 3 previous months before these 3 months here. Anyway, despite this rally, Rakers sees further room for upside given the upcoming product cycles and growing AI infrastructure demand. And I just want to say one thing before we send it to Adara. Yeah. Everybody made a big deal about the H20 being allowed back into China. That wasn't the only GPU that was banned from China, Joey. The MI308 was a China-specific CPU. Now that is allowed back under licensing, from so AMD, that should be a good tailwind for them.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some fantastic tailwinds here for AMD. They're going to be involved in a lot in Stargate, so I think that's going to have drive a lot. And then they also struck some deals in the Gulfs as well, too. So that in the Gulf countries, sorry, as well. So that's why you see AMD is up substantially. I got involved with NVDA as soon as I heard those deals struck, and it broke that downtrend line. So that worked out relatively well. What is working for us right now is Bitcoin. So let's see if we can continue this. I'm not as large as I was before, just because I'm kind of just reducing my error that I placed on that initial trade. But we got right back in because I just had a feeling it was going to be strong. So we'll hold on to this one for a little bit more. Adara, what do you got for us?
I looked into this J&J thing because I was curious myself about the baby powder settlement. The answer is it's really confusing. So back in October 2024, they agreed to pay $700 million to settle these claims with, I guess, regarding they misled customers regarding the safety of their talcum baby powder. So that was back in October 2024. That was awaiting approval, I guess, from a judge. Now, it's unclear if this is the exact same situation, but I believe that they're related. It's really hard to find info on this. But then on March 31st, 2025, then we have a U.S. bankruptcy judge rejecting Johnson & Johnson's proposal to end these lawsuits. So it's all very unclear how everything's interconnected. It sounds like at least they're trying to end this, but according to this one article about the rejection of this claim, it's the third time they've tried this strategy and it hasn't worked. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. Again, I'm trying to do a lot of research on it, but it's just hard. There's not a lot of information to find, and it's unclear how the numbers are related. There's a lot of different numbers going around here, $10 billion, $700 million, more research to be done. But yeah, Sharif, point is there's not really a clear answer on whether or not this is resolved. Back to you.
Confusing one there, Adair. Yeah, that's kind of why I was a little bit hazy on it. Thank you for kind of ironing that out, even though, you know, still a little bit undecided. Joey, anything on the Wells Fargo AMD comment there?
Yeah. I think we've seen what AMD's been doing from a technical standpoint. Now let's take a look at WFC, Wells Fargo, a sleeper. There's no questioning that here, guys. You can see from a daily standpoint some nice moves, but then we also double top right here. But this engulfing candle, and then now we have this earnings day right here. So just keep an eye on it for this potential gap fill. I think that's going to be a good opportunity there for Wells Fargo from a technical standpoint, and it's a relatively cheap price stock compared to some of the other banks as well too. Sure.
This meme is hilarious, bro. Listen,
wow,
look,
Circle's going nuts.
Yeah, well, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, should we be looking at it right now?
Most
yeah, okay, let's have a quick look
and
here.
Bitcoin and ETH.
Well, I mean, that makes pure sense to me. Let's have a look at Circle over here, Joey. Yes, Circle is at the high of the day right now. Okay, so Circle's on that good stuff that's illegal on this side. It's about to take out 230. We're 17.5%, guys. It's all gas, no brakes right now. It has had, Joseph, very clear support at the 20 exponential moving average on the 5, and I won't be convinced any different. Whether I was at the open, look at that open bar, holds a 20. You got another retracement here at 1050 and 1050 and 1055 at the 20, it held. You got another retracement at 1150 into the 20, it held. You got another 2-candle retracement at 1 and 105 at the 20, it held. The 20 is absolute money today on Circle. Obviously, you can pick it up at the 10. It's defended the 10 quite nicely, but getting in at the 20 obviously gives you a better cost basis. There goes that 230 level. Wow. It's on that good stuff right now.
And so is Robinhood. Robinhood's gone as well, too, guys. Let's take a look at coin. Let's go through all of the names that are going to benefit from this. That's Bitcoin. All right, maybe not necessarily, but Sympathy Play. It's starting to pull back in a little bit, but coin. What's coin up to, Sharif? Oh, it's breaking out. There you go.
Go Coinbase.
Breakout. on that one, I know someone who grabbed some contracts the other day.
Who?
So it wasn't me. I can tell you that. No, I'm being dead serious. It actually wasn't me. Yeah. I'm not gonna say. No, it wasn't me. I truly didn't. I tell you guys what I grabbed. But there it is, coin from a daily. Just wow. What a move this name has been on. These resistance zone breaks have been nothing short of phenomenal. So this is crazy what we're experiencing here. This is some big time moves, and it's unfortunate. I won't be chasing it up here, but there's different methods that you can use to get the price of the stock that you at the price that you of the stock that you want. And that's selling cash secured puts, right? So, but you need to have the capital for at least 100 shares right there. So that's pretty hefty. But coin, HOOD, and Circle most definitely moving higher. And it looks like that HOOD is going to break this $104 level right here, man. What a stock,
beautiful.
Man, what a stock,
I'm very impressed with this company. And like the funny thing is, I was like dead wrong. Like when I went back in 21, when I visited my sister, and everybody was using Robinhood because that was like the meme craze, right? Yeah. And I used to make fun of my brother-in-law. I'm like, you're like, what kind of a loser are you?
Yeah, it's like
you don't even have level 2. You know, like the idiot. Like, I don't know.
Use well simple, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, you don't want to.
You were the goofball that used Robinhood. Now look at that. It's funny how things change, huh?
Oh, why you smirk at me like that? You on well simple? Or? All right. I'm curious. Nothing against well simple.
Who are you with? If you want to disclose, who's your broker, Obe?
My day trade.
Who?
No.
I used to be.
Was it with Trade Zero? Okay.
Yeah.
For my swing.
Yeah. TFSA with the bank. You're with the bank on that. Yeah, that makes sense. You get your money from one account to the other. It's easy work. Shout out to Durango Julian, 199 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate you all. We appreciate you, brother, and thank you for watching with us today. I do appreciate that. The OG Darwin. I used Robinhood in addition to Fidelity back in the day. They locked my AMC shares and didn't let me sell, so I got a TD Ameritrade. You and everybody else, man. Remember what happened with GME, and that's why it had such a bad reputation.
Yeah.
One of the reasons, anyway.
I think that's honestly something that lingered with it for quite some time.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Even the Chilean Nightmare right now, he's still not a fan because of what happened.
And it wasn't even Robinhood itself who halted the trading. Obviously, it had
it was their what's it called? I forget the name of the company, but it's the person who backs it, their market maker, essentially. I forget the name. Everybody.
Whether it be Citadel.
Thank you, guys. Citadel,
okay,
yes.
Did I say Citadel? Yeah, so Citadel, as I was mentioning it there. So yeah, it wasn't even really them, but they caught a really, really bad rap after that because it did tick a lot of people off.
Yeah. That's the way it is. All right. Well, it's nice how they came back, though. Let's go on to Morgan. Morgan crushed Q2 expectations on trading. Let's talk about how they did. EPS, 213, easily beating the $1.96 the street was looking for. It was really driven, guys, by strength across trading as well as their wealth management segments. Net income rose. Keeping an eye here on YHC, rose substantially 13% year over year to $3.5 billion. That's what they're taking home in profits. That's up from the $3.1 billion they printed a year ago. So a healthy increase there. Revenue came in at $16.79 billion, topping the $16.07 that the street was looking for. So an easy beat there on the top and the bottom line. Let's talk about their trading revenues driving their gains. Institutional security revenue climbed to $7.64 billion, up from 6.98 year over year. Notable strength, guys, in equity trading amid, obviously, heightened client activity. Clients were moving their money all around because your boy Donald was doing things. Get it, Donald. Market volatility spurred by Trump's new tariffs. That fueled investor repositioning and boosted their trading desk activity. Wealth management revenue. A healthy, very healthy, actually higher than institutional security revenue, $7.76 billion versus the $6.79 that they printed last year, based or really driven by strong asset management fees. The division remains a key driver for Morgan and their revenue diversification as well as stability. Deal making, that's what I want to hear about, rebounded late in the quarter as companies regained the confidence to pursue IPOs and M&As amid reduced tariff uncertainty. Executives, though, they expect deal and listing activity to really pick up in the second half of 2025, which obviously aligns with the increased client engagement observed in June. So I can't tell you, I'm super pumped about that. And before we sent it to Adara, Joseph and I were talking. Now, one thing I was saying to him was, we are at historical lows for the amount of publicly traded companies. So many of these private companies don't feel the need to go public. There's a bunch of reasons for that. Regulation, obviously, one of them. The other is the growth of the private equity as well as private lending. It's really picking up right now. And before we go to Adara, my goodness, YHC, I know Circle's probably breaking out too, but you know, I'm in a small cap world, right? YHC is right back into the highs. Watch out for that 880 break, guys. It's now a triple top at that 880, but something tells me that short seller at 8 4/5 is just going to get run over. Adara, tell us what the news is.
Just be aware here. Keep an eye on CCJ and UUUU. There's an announcement from the Department of Energy in the U.S., apparently of a pilot program to build advanced U.S. nuclear fuel lines and end foreign dependence. So some nuclear and I guess maybe uranium-related plays. Keep an eye on these names as we send you over to the guys.
Carso, what's your advice, brother? Tag me again. Are you talking about Joby and Archer? Because I still haven't positioned in that, and I'm lamenting, obviously. But let me know what you're talking about. Casro OW, my bad. Joey, any comments there? E-Signal.
New traders, listen up. First month free. That's right. We're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize. Guess what? Then you capitalize. Our platform, it's everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading?
Yes.
check that link in the description then.
Bang.
Bang.
Get it, Adara. All right, let's, any comment, Joey, on Morgan?
Yeah, I had something on Morgan here, kind of caught up in this trade. I'm going to pull it up here.
Do your thing.
Yeah, I'm
You're
gonna,
busy, you do your thing.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up here just from a technical standpoint. Just going to get my little 2 cents from a technical in there. Shree bring you the fundamentals, we bring you the techs here. So, all right, so inverted hammer, I like this candle a lot, to be honest with you. So as long as we don't break this, I've been looking for swings considering that my IBIT position didn't work out how I wanted it to. It's earnings season. There's gonna be plenty of opportunities, and I'm gonna give you a little, just a little note here. Don't be buying contracts after earnings. Or if you even own them like previously before, that's good. But as you're leading into earnings and post earnings, you don't want to be buying contracts. Why? IV crush, IV decay. That will really, really ruin your day, and you're going to be paying an extended premium, an elevated premium that you don't necessarily need if you're just patient, or just go shares, just go common stocks, much more simplistic. But as of Morgan Stanley today, if I like this, I would not be buying any form of a contract. Why? Because I can already tell you without even having to look that the at-the-money IV is extremely, extremely elevated, all right? So let's see what it is. Oh, okay, maybe I'm going to eat those words relatively quick.
I hate that.
Yeah,
embarrassing.
Very, very embarrassing.
I hate that.
No, but in all seriousness, 31.8% relative, that's still pretty high, right? So we can take a look at this. You can see that our this is our IV gauge right here, implied volatility, and you get that massive spike up as well too. So you're paying essentially nothing, but now you get that increase in IV. So that's why you don't want to be paying, you don't want to be buying contracts after massive events that cause an increase in the average true range, because that's going to increase your options.
Talking about ATR now, eh?
Yeah, well, it's very high correlated, right? Obviously, the average true range and the implied volatility. So yeah, that's why you don't want to be buying these contracts, is because day after day, you're not even going to lose, even though you're losing money to theta, you're going to lose money to volatility decay.
Interesting.
So volatility decay is extremely important to understand.
All right, last but not least, this is my favorite headline, and I wish that we can get this in Canada sooner rather than later. Trump administration eyeing private equity access for your 401ks. Could not come sooner in Canada. I don't need the government babysitting me and telling me I need to be an accredited investor for me to put my own dang money wherever I so please. I do not need to be babysat. And I don't think other people need to be babysat either. If I want to take the risk with lower disclosure, then I take the risk. It's not for you to tell me what to do. Trump administration is finalizing an executive order that would allow 401k retirement plans to invest in private equity. No official signing date is set yet, but discussions are apparently at an advanced stage per the sources close to the matter. The move would mark the biggest pro-private equity shift yet in retirement savings policy. A major win, obviously, for the private equity industry, which has lobbied for access to the $12.5 trillion that exist in the U.S. 401k market. That's a lot of money. Asset managers see defined contribution plans as their next major growth channel, not these billionaires anymore, I guess, as institutional investors are apparently reaching their PE allocation limits. This would reverse a Biden-era rollback of a Trump 1.0 era DOL guidance that previously cleared the way for private equity in retirement plans. Supporters here argue that private equity access could provide higher return potential and greater portfolio diversification. Critics, on the other side, warn of illiquidity, complexity, higher fees, and legal risk for plan administrators if savers face losses. Easy. Just give them statutory immunity. I would obviously have to go through Congress. Couldn't be an EO there. The number of U.S. This is the point that I was making to Joey earlier. The number of public U.S. companies has declined significantly since the 1990s. We're reducing, obviously, the traditional stock exposure options. Meanwhile, private equity assets more than doubled over the past decade, bolstering the argument for inclusion in retail retirement accounts. Joseph, so that's the end of the matter. Obviously, it's not applicable to Canada, nor has it taken effect yet. And it probably doesn't affect the public markets all that much, or maybe it does. Because maybe all of a sudden these 401ks, instead of punching into publicly traded company, they're now weaseling into private
So
equity.
you're talking about outflows from the market into the private sector.
There's a finite amount of money, baby.
Yep,
You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
yeah,
For
so
sure. I agree. I think
that
that's
could be
fantastic.
actually bad for the public markets if you think about it a little bit more. I mean, I don't know. JD, Florida, man, PE is way overvalued now, and this will make it worse. I respect your opinion, but that should not be a blockade for my own personal decision making. If I want to lose my money in the way that I can lose my money going and buying a lottery ticket or betting on some, long shot on Kalshi, I should be able to put my money in private equity. I do not need to be babysat. I do not need to be told that you don't understand enough. You go sit over there while we make the rules. This investment is only for them. You don't have enough money and you don't have enough brain juice. Get the hell out of here with that. I mean, I just don't care. Anyway, I just hate to be,
Babied and monitored.
yeah,
and
man.
Police.
Yeah, man. Jeez,
Police.
please, bro. Man, can I tell you one thing?
Yeah.
Obviously, this is an extreme example, and not all examples are like this. But back, I think in the 80s, I'm pretty sure it was the 80s, Massachusetts, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, actually banned some of their citizens. I don't know if it was all their residents, or it was a select group, maybe government employees. I'm not sure, but they basically prohibited people from buying Apple because they said it was too speculative.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, who are
It's
you to
insane.
tell me?
I'm going to double check that right now and find out. That's super gatekeeping. Let's go. Let's find out if this is accurate or not. So midday queries. Let's go over here. Did Mass prohibit? Go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, absolutely. Do your thing there, guys. All right, so I was just talking with Obi a little bit there. Potential topping signal on Circle, but just keep an eye out, right? So we don't have the volume supporting it just yet, but this is a nice indecision print at these highs. So maybe things are going to start to cool down a little bit, and then you look for that slow curl over. Note, this is a really, really positive and strong catalyst. So don't look for that move all the way back to the volume weighted average price. It's more or less likely to be a micro pullback. So keep an eye out on this one. If it does decide to break down, I would not even look for 226 as a target. I think that's a bit of a stretch. You want to look for that previous 5-minute low. You have a tight risk to reward profile. So it's going to be about a 1-to-1, but this is some positive signs for a topping signal, and then maybe a move lower. But again, you can also just eliminate this from your playbook, considering the catalyst is extremely strong, and it's been a strong stock. So you may not want to go against that, but topping signal right there on Circle.
I see you, BG3 baddie. I get it. I know, not everybody, is going to have this sophistication, and therefore some people need to be protected. I just don't like that paternalistic, maternalistic, whatever mentality where I need to protect people because they're gonna lose their money. I see both sides. I really do, but I just can't stand it when there's that kind of patriarchal view. Anyway, I did a little bit of research. Yes, Massachusetts did prohibit its residents from investing in Apple Computer during its IPO in 1980. The Securities Division of the state deemed Apple's IPO too speculative, Joseph, and risky under what was called in the state at the time the Blue Sky Laws, which were designed to protect investors from overly speculative or fraudulent offerings. As a result, Apple's IPO was not approved for sale to retail investors in Massachusetts, meaning individual investors in the state could not legally buy Apple stock when it went public on December 12th, 1980. Ironically, this law aimed to protect residents, but ended up blocking them from one of the most successful investments in frickin' human history.
That's a lawsuit right there. I'd be suing. It's like, hey, I wanted to buy this company, put this amount of money in there, now look what it's trading at, so essentially you owe me.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. Yeah. Can you imagine? Like the government?
You know what I mean?
Where my money?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's my little rant for the day. But I am very, obviously, as you can probably tell, I'm more laissez-faire. I don't like government intervention when it's not needed, but that's just my political philosophy, and I don't mean to kind of impose that on others. And I'm sorry for the rant, but I feel quite passionate about it.
Where were they when everybody lost their money on GameStop, AMC, people buying those highs? highs. And if you want to talk about speculative, come on.
Well, exactly. Well, they didn't do that, I think. Well, except Citadel pulled the plug there.
Except for they pulled the plug. Yeah, but you couldn't sell it. You owned it, but you couldn't sell it. So it's like, we're gonna take your money anyways, regardless of what it is.
So that's the look right now. What question? The Chilean Nightmare asking, was that before or after Nixon? It's going to be after because it was 1980. I'm pretty sure Reagan took power either in 80 or 81. Prior to that, I think it was Jimmy Carter, if I'm not mistaken, chat. Fact check me otherwise. I'm pretty sure he lost to Reagan because of the whole thing with Iran at the time. I appreciate you guys, man, messaging in the chat. I do appreciate that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, to answer your question, Fabian, after Nixon, I'm pretty sure about that. But I can double check that. Anything you got? Because I'm gonna.
Yeah. Dude, so here it is, guys. So this was our Bitcoin trade. We enter here, we double it up, we get this move, and then I just get stopped out. So yeah, Devin Haney right there a little bit. And then we try it again. I'm like, all right, off of that news, we get stopped out again, and then that's when we get that move higher. So still slightly positive, but nothing substantial. I should have been holding this core position through this. Sorry, excuse me. Because it never really came back to my break even. I just said, you know what, I didn't really want to sit in the chop. And for me, to be honest with you, sometimes when I see a session like how it is today, I want to spend as minimal time in the market as possible. So that's just my personal style. We can do a quick trade review. Sorry, Adara, 1 second. I want to pull something up here. That's going to be NVDL. That was most definitely our best trade of the day. NVDL right here. You can see that we got that reload. And for me personally, it's just like, all right, the bulk of your profits are made here. You risk a little bit on the side and see what you can get from it. Adara, what do you got?
Here's DJT getting a little pump. I'm seeing this on X. I'm only seeing it from one account, so I'm going to wait to see if we get any more posts about this. But apparently, holders of Trump's World Liberty Financial cryptocurrency are voting to make the token more tradable, or not more tradable, but actually just make it tradable. So apparently, might be able to be trading Trump's World Liberty Financial crypto token. I'm going to have to wait for more information because, like I said, I have very little except for this headline. But if I find out more, I'll let you know. DJT on watch here. Back to you.
Look there, Dara. Way to bring that up there. We can pull up DJT. I mean, this is obviously talking about blocking people from trading things. I would highly suggest that it happens on this name, but it is what it is, right? So we can zoom out and see what we got cooking up here. This was when it was really hot, April of 24, $78. Now trading around $17 or $18. We're considering whatever the intraday pattern is. I don't know why this doesn't show what it's trading at during the day. That really frustrates me about the platform, but it is what it is. You got to deal with certain things. But the 824, and then you have this 1834 breakout level, and then potentially going to test that high of the day. But you can see there's liquidity issues, obviously. Lots of spotty price action, and then you get those gap ups and gap downs. But as for that circle trade, not looking too bad. All right. I didn't trade it. Okay. I was going to short. I was going to short it on this topping signal, but I'm like, you know what? I just they didn't want to put up with that there today. But here it is. Nice signal at an extreme high. This is what you're looking for. Pop, pop, pop. Look for that move down lower. And that's what I said. Look for the low of around this 5-minute candle because this is a really strong name. And if you want to talk about repeat offenders, then expect what it's been doing for the past couple of for the whole session. Sorry, I should say. So you get this move higher, not the deepest pullback. Another move consolidation, more or less than a pullback. You make an additional leg higher, and then you get another somewhat of a small pullback here, and then you make that additional move. So I wouldn't. If you do get 225, then that's going to be, in my opinion, extremely lucky. But if you are short this name, I obviously want you to get and lock in as much profit as possible, and then hopefully get into 217. That could give me an opportunity to buy it as well, too, Sri.
I like that. All right, I'm back on YHC over here. I'm keeping an eye on this one. I'm interested in punching back in. So what I'm seeing right now on the 5-minute, that is that we just dipped in below the 10 EMA. So the 10 EMA is here. We dipped in below it, and now we're making lower highs on this candle. So I'm thinking I want to punch in above 835, but I want to jump in a little bit earlier. So if I can spot a breakout here on the 5-second chart, and that's what I'm looking at the top screen there. I'm not crazy. I know the camera is here, but I'm looking for an 835 break, but I'm thinking about jumping in before it. Anything, though, I want to say below 805, which has been a level that's been defended now for about 5 or 6 minutes, I get out. So the spread has been prohibitive on this one. It is not good. It's 10 pennies currently right now, which obviously displeases me. So we're not on a breakout. We're very much in a consolidation. And to be fair, we are making lower highs. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at on the 5-second chart. So this is the YHC's 5-second chart, and you can see there's been a buyer here at 808, 809 with a bit of a range there, 810 to the downside, 825 to the high side. But prior to that, it has been just a series of lower high, lower high, lower high. You guys get where I'm going with that, right? So I don't want to be quick to think that this is the right time to jump in. Now, we've just opened up another 5-minute candle, which did defend the 10 EMA on the 5. So I'm looking for a breakout. We're not certainly getting a breakout right now. I think I will wait until I see this one breaking out above that 8.25, 835. It really depends on how much volume comes in. Once I start seeing that volume profile really rocket, I think I'm going to weasel back into this one. But there's only about 8 minutes left on the show. This thing's not going to finish out the year, but whatever.
Still?
Oh, it works great, bro. It works fine. It works fine.
Whatever.
It was free, dog, so it's okay.
Free 99.
Free 99, 5-finger discount. So no, not that kind of 5-finger discount.
Bro, what other 5-finger discount is it?
In the sense that I just took it from work.
All right.
That's kind of what I did there. No, seriously though. So I'm watching this one intently. I'm really interested in getting back in. I feel this one's got the strongest push of the bunch, but it's got to set up in the right way. It really had a good breakout, essentially from 130 to about 137, 138. And since that time, it's been making lower lows and lower highs. But I think if we get a break above 8.25, I am game. Mr. Ian, Joseph, Sharif, Open. What's going on here? Open, say less. Let's have a look at OPEN. Is that a name that I typically know about, or Open Door? Open Door Technologies. $1.03 billion market cap, so it's not a small cap gapper, but up 36% on the day. I didn't even have eyes on this. I got to tell you, I didn't even have eyes on this, but this is a great looker. Higher highs, higher lows. Just made a $1.44 high. Started out its life at a $1.04, so we're up substantially today to the tune of 36%. It seems like a 10 EMA retracement entry here. It didn't respect VWAP, as you can see, from around 11.15 to about 11.50 or so. It was trading below the volume weighted average price. I would be looking for a 10 EMA retracement. That would be my entry into this. I don't know what else to tell you on that. I don't even know what the headline is. I can find it for you if you'd like. On track for record percent increase. Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Does it actually have a headline, though? OPEN, Adara. Thank you, Adara. Adara's going to look. I don't see a headline. I just see that it's up over 34%, and apparently that's a record for it. Record increase in the move there. All right, continuing to watch YHC, guys. This looks like it might be a double top waiting to happen here. Be on the lookout for a 760 break. That's the neckline. That I perceive that to be the neckline. But let's not forget, this is 100%. So before we start looking short over here, we got to make sure that the longs are exhausted, and we just got another price spike up into that predictable 810 area. 810 area, why is it predictable? Because we were using 810, this area here, as support, and now we lost it with that 790 hold, and now we're using 810 or 810-ish as resistance, Adara. Any update on Open?
Is that you, Remy?
One thing I will tell you about OPE, and I couldn't find any news, decent amount of retail attention. We're talking about, like, tweet every minute or so. But the other thing with Open Door Technologies, the first thing that came to mind when you mentioned this ticker is, this is one that I've noticed. There's like one account in particular, every once in a while, usually in the afternoon around 3 p.m., they'll post about it, speculating that it'll be in a partnership with Google or Apple. To my knowledge, no definitive partnership has been announced with either. But the point is that exists, so be aware, keep an eye on this around 3 p.m. That does sometimes happen. You'll get this account posting, oh, Google, Apple, possible partnership for OPEN, and then it gets forwarded and it doesn't really exist. So just keep an eye here in OPEN for that reason. That's the main thing I always think of when I think of this ticker, because of the amount of times I've seen that proliferated on X. I also want to mention DJT pushing higher. Again, I want to mention Trump. Token holders have apparently approved trading for Trump's World Liberty Financial cryptocurrency. That's quite the mouthful. So apparently holders of the World Liberty Financial cryptocurrency have approved it for trading. Back to you.
Thank you. Manic, sorry.
Yeah,
We're drinking the water. So, sorry, Sharif, I want to touch on one
do your
thing
thing,
here.
bro.
Havana Woody and I have been talking about this, and I think it's really important to know. So he's like, hey, Joe, I noticed some open interest on DJT.
Okay.
He said it's prime for a gamma squeeze. So let's break down what happens during a gamma squeeze, all right? So you can see here on DJT, we're starting to climb higher, but also we want to add this into what we got going on here. So at 20, we see this is a substantial amount of open interest right at that $20 strike price. Now, what is the Havana Woody referring to? Well, keep an eye on the gamma, right? So the gamma here in the money, with this in the money contract, is low. Gamma's at its greatest at the money. So what happens with this gamma squeeze is that as those contracts get closer to at the money, the gamma is going to accelerate. And then what happens when that starts to accelerate and the people on the opposite side of that trade on the front side of that trade who are short, they have to start covering. So that's going to put the gamma at its greatest when it's at the money. So keep an eye on that so you can squeeze through those contracts and go north of $20 if it happens. But what you need those people who are long those puts get fearful in order for that gamma squeeze to happen, all right? So you can see the gamma is about a third of what it is for those at the money strikes. And then you can see right here, it is approximately $17. That's nothing. But $50 at the money, that's a substantial increase. And especially as you get closer to at the money, it's going to grow vastly. And then that's when you get that squeeze because the people who are short those puts have to start long those puts have to start covering rapidly. And that's going to sell the stock in a trajectory higher.
I like to grow vastly.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, muscularly, financially. I do enjoy growing vastly.
Yeah, same.
So, we'll see how that
I'm all about the financial vastly.
Financial vastly. Oh, boy. Let me know when, Assassino. All right, let's go. Looking to trade futures like the Nasdaq, the SPY, or even Bitcoin? Well, guess what? Top One Futures is one of the fastest growing prop firms out there, baby. They give traders a chance to manage up to $1 million in capital. And the best part, you pick your own path. You can choose the instant funding route, the challenge route, or even a pro account and start trading your way to real payouts and even a live account. And just in the last 90 days alone, I should say, they paid out over $10 million in profits and earned over 1,005+ star reviews from real traders. So if you're interested, use the discount code TTV to save on any account. Scan that QR code or head on over to top1futures.com and start trading towards your next payout. Shout out to Top One Futures. Good luck for them. I used to like trading futures.
Did you?
Yeah. There was like, I had like
Sharif did the futures like for the entire, I think at least first 6 months I was on the midday.
I did.
It'd be like, oh, points in the whatever.
Yes, exactly.
Like that, yeah.
And the thing is, though, it was a ruin, Adira. But when he left, then like I was basically just using his strategy. Let's just full disclosure. Yeah, it was his strategy.
Yeah.
He would show me basically when you were at the 100-point area. That was kind of his move. I don't want to talk on his behalf, but the way I understood his strategy to be was he would wait to key areas of support or resistance came in. He would really observe who was in control at those key areas of support and resistance, and he would make a decision one way or another. And one of those ways was to kind of see whether or not you were kind of wick shimmying above or below. Anyway, it's a whole strategy that I tried to employ. But obviously, trading the Qs, the NQ, the MNQ requires a lot of risk.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It is definitely a tougher one to do on the show, Joey, but it is 2 o'clock, and you're nice enough to be able to cover for me today on the rundown. So it's your boy Joey Options. It's going to be at the green screen. I got to go and get that safety inspection on my car so we can possibly actually sell it. I'm feeling some kind of way about it, both good and bad. I don't like getting rid of my stuff.
It's all right, man. New beginnings, man. You know what I mean? New beginnings.
We'll find out. All right, guys.
Cyber beginnings.
I like it. We're I missed that part there. Cyber beginnings. Yeah. Okay, I missed that part. You see? What? You hear that, Neil? It's not official, especially with that $2,500 lease price, Neil. Prohibitive. Neil's that way, guys. And Obi.
Tina T. Thank you.
Is official, Sharif. I'm just saying, we know you want